Hi, everyone. Um, I was listening to, well, several things this morning, and the socialite. And what is a socialite? What is her function? Uh, kind of came up. So I even left a comment on Julian Dorey. Make the sound on here. Uh, Podcast. Let's see, it should be there. Yeah. So he was like, "What is a socialite?" Listen to him for a second. So I said, Julian Dorey, I hate to tell you that social media influencers are socialites. All y'all on the internet, look in the mirror to see what a socialite does. As you point out, I should have, as you well, I guess I could use the present tense, sorry. As you point out, one normally associates the word socialite with NYC because ever since the robber barons usurped power from the founding fathers during Western expansion, the mothers, wives, daughters, and sisters have been setting the social norms and customs of American society. Should read there. Their mothers. Anyway, my alma mater in VA in Virginia, Foxcroft School alumni list is filled with robber baron heiresses who have been setting the very bad standards and etiquette which oh, I made a mistake, are omnipresent in the Epstein files. I'll have to see it. Sometimes they don't let me edit these things. Then I have to copy paste and whatever. The most grotesque amongst the cannibalism and sacrifice of children. Yeah, I mean, I've been exposing and putting on the internet, so no, everybody I know, they can't claim that they didn't know. They didn't know what's going on in family courts, child protection services, adoption. This is national and international, because actually I think international adoption might be bigger market than at national levels. Not sure about that. Yeah, so the trafficking that's going on, the problems in family courts, the all of these socioeconomic problems on both sides of the pond. And I mean, I know the ruling elite of Arizona, Louisiana, well, the New Orleans area, above the lake, Baton Rouge. This goes from Baton Rouge to Slidell. Uh, Florida, Miami is the capital of South America. I also have the ruling elite of Bogota by the balls, uh, Madrid, Paris, London, New York, and where I am today, living in a hovel, and glad not to be in a tent on the streets as everybody's been promising me for the past 20 years if I didn't shut up and obey. So, as disgusting as my surroundings are, I do thank God for them. Anyway, yeah, try and find something to rent for less than $1,000 in DC. Good luck. My alma mater. Okay, let's see. Yeah, and Foxcroft charges $70,000 a year now. 77,000 for international students. It's an hour away from Washington. All little ladies. Oh, and you should see Middleburg. Middleburg used to be the quintessential, colonial town. It looked, I went there once since I've been back. That was my older sister was in town and she wanted to go out there to the vineyards. I mean, I was like, ugh, this reminds me of Versailles. And then I did a court watch in Arlington, Virginia, which is known for trafficking of children, particularly it's a woman, Wiggins, and Judge Newman, who is married to the first Black billionaire in the United States. He handled her divorce. So of course, she walked away real nice with that, and then he married her. So they're out in Middleburg, and they've helped transform it into this crass, I'm like, all you have to do to understand what's the problems is look at Foxcroft and look at Middleburg. Oh, and the Kennedy, Middleburg was Jackie and JFK had a house out there. Jackie's father-in-law, excuse me, stepfather, um, was from there. So Jackie O and JFK, and in fact, he was always getting pissed off that she was spending too much money. Anyway, that's a problem with the Kennedy women, but yeah, so the Kennedys are in there as well. I mean, Sidney Lawford, it's actually Sidney Kennedy Lawford McElvey. Her mother was a Kennedy, Pat Kennedy. Then her father was Peter Lawford, the Hollywood Rat Pack actor. Uh, and I mean, yeah, he was British and had a real alcohol problem, womanizer, so that marriage didn't go well. And I mean, I don't think it went well with the children either. So anyway, it's like the Kennedys. Excuse me, and it's not just the Kennedys; it's the Astors, the Vanderbilts, DuPonts. I mean, one of the worst cases of child abuse was of a DuPont. The mother was a real social climber and gold digger, and I don't know, didn't have money, and so the father, I mean, he locked the kids in a room. They were treated like animals. Oh, it's horrible. Yeah, so anyway, this is all the ladies and gentlemen that rule. I mean, is it any surprise we have this cannibalism and sacrificing of children? Anyway, yeah, so my alma mater in Virginia, Foxcroft School alumni list is filled with robber baron heiresses who have been setting the very bad standards and etiquette which are omnipresent in the Epstein files. The most grotesque amongst is the cannibalism and sacrifice of children. Even I did not know about that one, and I've been exposing the trafficking of women and children for 20 years to all of other ladies and gentlemen on the internet. I've been warning all the socialites and social media influencers and my entourages whose goal is to be liked and make money that the 20-year prison sentence of Ghislaine Maxwell renders them accomplice. Sentence of Ghislaine Maxwell as accomplice to the trafficking of young women and girls has set a very dangerous precedent for you all. I hope you will check out my videos on the deep state, particularly number 8 to 11, which covers notable alumni of Foxcroft and my alma mater in England, Cobham Hall. Sorry, as I'm reading this, I'm like, I shouldn't be trying to like edit while I'm reading. Sorry about that. The alma mater of that school goes from Princess Antonia of Prussia, great granddaughter of Kaiser Wilhelm. I'm not positive if I got all of the greats in there, but okay, of Kaiser Wilhelm. That's the one that like we went to World War I about, or had, that had its hand in there. To have it all feminist and celebrity journalist Marianne Seigert, whose great-great-great-grandfather was Rudy Seigert, nay, Singer, was responsible for the 1929 financial collapse in Austria. See, it doesn't matter. You change the names of the people in the game, but the game is staying the same. Rian Eisler, the social scientist, has written about you need a paradigm shift from the power over, where, it's all about power and control and abuse, and fear and hatred. This is why the feminist and everybody in there, but the feminists are, the women are at the lead, because it's the anti-feminists as much as the feminists and the socialites want to maintain the abuse. See, in my research into like demonic and satanic, what's going on there, all of this stuff, and this goes back thousands of years. And in fact, I want to do a thing. There's a thing I saw about the Illuminati, and in response to Candace Owens, she gets into the Freemasons, Illuminati, in her book review on the founding fathers. But she's giving this a very you know, the typical Black Lives Matter victim card of the imperialistic whites and the oppressed blacks. We just need to put blacks in positions of power, and then we're going to, the problems are going to be solved because they were the previously oppressed. No, the worse than, I mean, it's the social climbers. It doesn't matter what their color of their skin is, because the social climbing whites are just as vicious as the different minorities in Washington. And again, it gets into the socioeconomic power structure. In fact, my issues, there's the Mi Casa restaurant that's neat in design. That was a bunch of African American bullies. I mean, oh my Lord, it was all African Americans in there, and the women, particularly. But the general manager was a white guy from Leesburg. Now, his claim to fame, his career, other than being a manager of a restaurant, was selling suits at Brooks Brothers. So, when he found out that I was from Foxcroft, oh Lord, he was going to have a field day of showing me a thing or two and, denigrating and humiliating me. I mean, if he had been smart, he would have hired me as an assistant manager. And then general manager, when he moved over, he was going to move over to another place, but things got so bad there, he had to come back. If he had hired me as assistant manager and put me in as general manager instead of that little group of viperous black feminists, what happened wouldn't have happened. And the restaurant wouldn't be closed today. Then, over at Tyverse, that actually was the Child Herald. Used to be like a place where, bar, restaurant, and they had live music. Bruce Springsteen played there in the 60s or 70s when he was, just starting out. So anyway, I mean, a historical place in Washington. So anyway, upstairs is Tyverse. That's some guys out in Middleburg who the partner, they're Thai people. And one of the girls who lived out in Middleburg was working there when I first started. And she was like, oh my God, like the people in the Tyverse in Middleburg is really bad, but this is even worse. I mean, and again, the guy found out I had gone to Foxcroft. Oh, he was going to have a field day and showing me. I mean, the young, because they're all Thai people who are working, and I was the token white. Oh, and I loved it when Caroline Kennedy and John Boner came in, and the woman with the, what do you call that? The comfort, those comfort animals with, oh, I forget what they call it. Oh God, these people need a life instead of a comfort animal. That's for the blind. So anyway, that incident. But I was like, screw y'all. I mean, I have been run through the gauntlet in Washington. I mean, while Kerry Kennedy is advancing LGBT rights with the RFQ, RFQ Human Rights Organization, and her 3 daughters in tow, who stabbed their father in the back when he got attacked by the Me Too feminists. She's advancing LGBT rights in Washington and everywhere else in the world. Meanwhile, excuse me, what are happening to labor rights in this country? What are happening to tenants' rights, citizens' rights, litigants' rights? And I look at the Tyler Robinson case. I mean, my interest is, once again, due process, people, presumption of innocence. I mean, I love Gary Melton. He gets on there. And I mean, the man is just capable. He's screaming bloody murder about presumption of innocence for Erica Kirk, who, as Cassia says, Cassia Fredo, what is that? Daily Fredo with Cassia, the podcaster, has chocolate all over his face. Like, the second he gets on that podcast, it's like, wipe the chocolate off your face, Gary. And he's screaming presumption of innocence for Erica Kirk, who looks so, I mean, unfortunately, I'm familiar with this psychopathic behavior of everybody in your life is a commodity to be used and, use and be used. And well, unfortunately, he was taken out. We're not going to ask really any questions here. Let's move on, people. And I'm going to be in the limelight. Oh, I get to be on the limelight. Finally, after so many years of trying to be in the limelight, center of attention. I'm not going to ask any questions. So how much was she knowledgeable about the planning of the whole assassination of Charlie Kirk? I don't know. This obviously is not Tyler Robinson. This is, if the Trump administration wasn't involved, then they would be assuring an investigation into this. Finally, I mean, right then and there, we have the smoking gun. We don't need to. How much time, energy, and money has been wasted with podcasters debating all of this shit? The 30-06 doesn't make sense. What the frick is going on in the SUV, the car that Charlie Kirk was transported in from UVU to the hospital? Like, come on, people. There's too many pieces of evidence that are being ignored. Then what, where are the tapes of the emergency room at the hospital? I'm assuming these days everybody has them. I don't know. You got cameras all over the freaking place in this surveillance state you got going on here. So I'm assuming they're there. They've got to be at the police station. This whole thing of, oh, the authorities know what they're doing. I mean, anybody who says that, I'm like, you know what? Why don't you go back and stick your head in the sand and you'll have your ass out there exposed. And guess what happens to people like that, you idiot? Okay, so we're going to continue because I got to get to, oh my Lord, I'm almost at approaching 20 minutes. So, okay, the alma mater of that school, Cobham Hall, goes from Princess Antonia. Oh, I already went through this. Okay, the great. So Marianne Seigert, her grandmother, was forced to leave Germany while her husband went to Israel under the Nuremberg laws of 1933. Now, the case that we've submitted, this is Barbara Stone from Florida, has submitted a case against family courts to the International Criminal Courts under Crimes Against Humanity, and her focus has been on what she calls the Nuremberg laws that have been passed in the United States that have completely eroded citizens' rights. My focus has been on the International Human Rights Convention, and we have two jurisprudence of violence against women as human rights violations, and I'm, working on challenging that. So there are different perspectives, there are different focuses, but there are many perspectives and ways to attack this problem. And I'm not, I'm like, let's use all of them and let's work together instead of being in some competition to be in the limelight, which is a real problem. So while they had to leave, while entire branches of her family tree were exterminated in the Nazi concentration camps. Those that left didn't leave, didn't survive. And her father was a UK barrister and author of The Lawful Rights of Mankind. Unfortunately, as law student Alex Joel, who later became a civil rights lawyer for the CIA, can that be a real job? As it's a conflict in terms? I mean, How can you be working for the CIA and be a civil rights lawyer? Like, morally, like morally, how can you do that? Okay, so pointed out in 1985 in a book review, the problem with implementation of International Human Rights Convention is that lawyers would be unable to understand how these principles translate into their actions in the courtroom. And I agree. But what everyone fails to understand is that the interpretation of laws in the courts by lawyers, judges, and juries are a function of the norms and standards which socialites establish. In monarchies, the socialites are led by the queens, princesses, and aristocracy, while in a republic it is a free-for-all between the wives and mothers in the commercial and political arenas to rule the roost. Unfortunately, Marianne is amongst my sisters for life from Foxcroft and Cobham who have marginalized me from their discussion, and author of The Authority Gap, Why Women Are Still Not Taken Seriously and What We Can Do About It. As I have pointed out to Marianne, if women were behaving seriously, they would be taken seriously. I hope that answers your question about what a socialite is and does. So let's start, because also he mentions the Federal Reserve. Now, I work downstairs from the Federal Reserve, minimum wage job as a cashier. They have a food court, if you will. So we sell hamburgers, and they stuck me instead of giving me a job as a manager for the place and cleaning up the problem, the general manager stuck me from the hostess stand to a cashier next to the hot grill under the assumption that I would quit, find a new job and quit. And unfortunately, yeah, I just turned 63. So, it's worse and worse of age discrimination and illegal terminations in reprisal for my activism work to clean up Washington. Nobody in Washington wants anybody rocking their boat, much less tipping the thing over. And that's why it doesn't matter who's in the White House. GDP is going to keep on going. Look on Washington D.C. Economic forecast, their website of come and invest in D.C. Oh my Lord, they've got it's the GDP, the population. It's just going to keep on going up, and away, with no end in sight. And this is going to produce, along with New York and every place else, the urban areas, this Orwellian future. So one of my favorites is just the other day, the head of HR, or I don't know his head, he's part of HR at the Federal Reserve upstairs. He says to me, he's an African American homosexual, and he says to me, because the other day I'm like, are you freaking kidding me? I shouldn't have a minimum wage job. I should have a 6-figure salary job in this freaking city. I go to any of the think tank panel discussions, and I'll sit there and listen to their bullshit. And then at the end, the Q&A, I'll get up and I'll debunk all of these freaking PhDs who have their head up their asses. They have an expression in French, pété plus haut que leur cul. They fart higher than their asses. And I blow them away in the Q&A. I mean, I'm kind of like the Charlie Kirk of the think tanks. Yet they don't appreciate me. And really, it's quite exhausting because it never accomplishes anything. And when Marjorie Taylor Greene had her conference, the congressional hearing on the nonprofits, this was right before she left. I'm like, yeah, Marjorie Taylor Greene, now we need to get them all dissolved and run out of town. Now you're not going to make them illegal, but there got to be some standards and norms and hold these people to account. They're all lobbyists for the donors. This is how Washington is being controlled. And that's got to be broken up. So anyway, he says to me, I don't believe it. I don't believe it. Because he says to me that liberal immigration policies are necessary in the United States because none of the Americans want to do minimum wage job work. And I look at him and I'm like, excuse me? I mean, I think he realized how ludicrous what he was saying to me. I hope he does. But I was like, buddy, now I give my he's a regular elevator speech to him all the time. He never wants to listen. He's always too busy on his phone, like many of them do. And then, I'm too busy. I'm a really, really, really important person because I've got 6-figure salary and you're just at minimum wage. I'm like, yeah, see, this is the problem with your DEI shit. And it stands actually for discrimination, elimination, for extermination and intimidation. Reminding everybody that extermination, genocide is illegal. It was interesting in the Epstein files, you hear how the solution for the elderly, because people are living longer, you need to get them retired early because you got to keep the jobs open for the young, snot-nosed brats coming out of the colleges who will drink and pass out any Kool-Aid, because the older people, they have experience, and that's where they're a danger, because this is all bullshit. So anyway, the solution there is their extermination. And I think that's what part of COVID was about, because it did, exterminate a lot of the elderly, include my parents were amongst those. So, did I get my shoot? Yep, I got this out.
What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Julian Dorey podcast. I am Julian Dorey.
I'm Joey Dave. How you doing?
How you doing? Well, the Epstein dynasty continues.
This is the type of New Yorker who, it's not the Manhattan socialite. It's the, I've never lived in Manhattan or New York. I'm a DC person, but it's, like the Bronx or the Brooklyn, Queens, working class, Staten Island, working class, who those people up in Manhattan, we got to put up with them because we get a lot of jobs made from their shit, but they really got their head up their ass.
The nuclear winter awaits, and the billionaire rockets are exploding.
Yes, sir.
Just
business as usual.
That's right. That's all I thought this week. I'm like, it's just biz.
Yeah, it's all just good biz.
Who was saying biz to us on a podcast? Was that fucking Bassam? Did he say that today? Where he's biz?
He mentioned biz. Yeah. He was like, that's just how they do biz.
Dude's been watching. Biz. Dude's been watching. But yeah, it just, we had talked a few weeks ago about Kevin Warsh, the new chairman of the Federal Reserve, being somehow, of course, connected interdimensionally, if you will, pun intended there, to Jeffrey Epstein. Mm-hmm. And at this point...
Oh, yeah, that's why everybody in the Federal Reserve don't like me any more than the clientele coming over from the IMF, the World Bank, the State Department. Although there were some people in the State Department who was yesterday or the day before, they were actually like, oh, more power to you, because I said, oh, Lord, I'm going after everybody in the State Department. Up to the top with, we got Hillary Clinton starts it. But the my big fish, or one of the big fish in the State Department, because it's actually, he's the key guy. See, he stays no matter who the Secretary of State was, the Undersecretary of Management, Kennedy. Now, this is not, direct relation to Bobby Kennedy and the Kennedys, but he is a Kennedy. Oh, he got several letters from me over the years. Now, I want to see his ass in court. Yeah, these guys don't like any kind of dissent. That's what they got a new guy in. I can't wait to see if David Malpass is going to be coming. Oh, and now they're closing on Saturdays, us. And I'm not sure it's because of not having enough business or if it's for security or what's going on there. But I'm wondering.
Joseph D. Philippus, it just really does feel like it's a giant troll at us because now the president's son.
Like I said this the other day, I'm like, okay, Trump is not going to leave office. Now, how is this going to be done is my question at present. That's what I'm trying to think.
Has married into some more Epstein ties. And I would love to be able to ignore these things and pretend there's definitely not a there. And maybe there isn't. Maybe there's not. Yeah, right. That's exactly right. Joey Deep speaks for all of America because everyone's going,
it's there.
At this point, you gotta wonder. So, have you checked out this Bettina Anderson lady?
No, I didn't want to look too far into it. I figured you would do us justice on that.
Yeah, I think you heard my fucking histrionic effects out there while I was reading about this a little bit because I'm just like, no. What? That too? No way.
Yeah.
No way. But so Jeffrey Epstein had a character witness. It is apparent now. Before he ever needed a character witness, air quotes there, like we know he eventually would have needed when he had a little case happen that got swept under the rug. But back in 1998, there was a gentleman named Harry Lloyd Anderson who I'm going to get to the exact things he wrote when we go through this article, but who wrote a character witness about his good friend Jeffrey Epstein and what an upstanding citizen he is. And this is the same Harry Lloyd Anderson who was, I believe, like the youngest banker in Florida. That's somewhere in this article we'll take a look at, but he took over a bank at age 26 and Jeffrey Epstein did his banking there and also paid out things from that bank, had his housekeeper paying out things from that bank and was friends with the guy. And this guy's daughter, Bettina, 39 years old, never
what could go wrong there?
Married, no kids, bragged about that in the past. It's kind of interesting, right? You know, she is a Palm Beach socialite, which how many times
Pete.
have you? Yeah,
she knows Pete, dude.
You mean
all the Palm Beach socialites? This is much the East Coast socialites of Palm Beach. I mean, do you have to even say East Coast or West Coast? Yeah, because you got the West Coast. Excuse me, the West, not West Coast, but West Palm Beach versus East Palm Beach. And yeah, Virginia came from West Palm Beach, and they all aspire to live in Palm Beach amongst the billionaires. And this was one of my things with Virginia Giuffre at her high school. The girls were coming to her going, oh, can you hook me up to that billionaire over there who wants massages? So I can go shopping at the mall as well? It was even in her memoirs. Now, one of the podcasters is Patriotic Housewife. She's West Palm Beach. And she said to me, oh, yeah, some of my friends were Jeffrey Epstein victims. I'm like, oh, great. The ones who... Yeah, West Palm Beach High School. This shit is still going on. Nothing's changed. I mean, Jeffrey Epstein was not the problem. He was just one of the many actors in there. You get rid of him, it was just going to be replaced. That's what people are not understanding.
next mayor of Palm Beach?
Yeah, the next mayor of
Palm Beach. Pete is running for mayor of Palm Beach. I don't know if you saw that. We're going to get to that too. But yeah, whenever you see the word socialite, and admittedly this is something...
The speculation that guy is actually Jeffrey Epstein and, you know, had the cosmetic surgery. I mean, that, see, it's almost to come out in public. How shall I say it? Sometimes the best disguise and the best place to hide is in plain sight. Sometimes it backfires on you.
And it usually...
Maybe he's so confident and cocky. It's like the biggest FU of the entire world. Or maybe this, this Pete guy is not Jeffrey Epstein at all. I don't, that's still on the table with all of the podcasters in discussions.
Comes up in the context in New York. They'll talk about like New York City socialite, but some of these rich people neighborhoods, be it Palm Beach, maybe sometimes Miami, probably Beverly Hills. I feel like I've seen that one before. You'll see that the Hamptons. How could I forget? Jesus Christ. Shout out to the Hamptons. But you'll see that term.
And Martha's Vineyard. I mean, please don't be crass, my dear. Can't forget that.
Important elite fucking enclave inserted here, and then socialite. And what it means, well, no one really knows what it means. That's the whole point. It's provocative. It gets the people going. But essentially, these are just people that have...
He says, nobody knows what it means, socialite. That's why I explained to him. Wow, Julian Dorey. Now you know what a socialite is. Why don't you invite me on? We can have a discussion. Even if you don't want to platform me and stuff, give me a call and we'll have a discussion. I don't care if you platform me. I'm in for the long haul, and this is all for the courts. I couldn't give a shit if 2 people or 2,000 people or 2 million people follow me or my podcasts. I'm not doing this to be popular. My favorite of all times, or one of my favorites, is my younger sister saying, I didn't excel at Foxcroft because I wasn't popular. I was like, oh my God, I'm like the smartest student at school ever had, and actually took advantage of the educational opportunity that was being offered to me instead of being blasting from the stereo from my dorm room. We don't need no education by the doors, and then becoming these backstabbing socialites and prima donnas like Carrie Kennedy, like Cornelia Guest, all of the Kennedy ladies are in there, the Astors, the Vanderbilts. I mean, I've already gone into those. All of these little girls, I'm like, ladies, there is a $40 trillion public debt to pay off. You're going to start selling your airplanes, your mansions, your islands, all your freaking shit to pay it off. You want to fuck with me, I'll fuck with you.
Happen to show up to the parties that are, probably the party before the Eyes Wide Shut party. And that's their job. That's their life. They got to look good. And if they're a woman, I guess they're trying to fuck the elites. I don't know. I mean, maybe if there's a socialite out there who watches this stuff, you can give us your job description in the comments. But that
voila, you got it. You got it, Julian.
Is what Bettina was. And I do have to...
No, what she is a whore for hire. Just like Sydney Biddle-Bauer, just like Cornelia Guest, just like all of the others. Paris Hilton, all of them. Ivanka Trump.
Pour one out here for Kimberly Guilfoyle, who really got the raw end of that.
Can't forget her.
As they all do.
As they all do. Yeah. But if you remember, Donald Trump Jr. was very, very in love with, at least according to his words, with another one.
At one time.
At one time. With Kimberly Guilfoyle, who, used to be married to Gavin Newsom back in the day. Nothing to see there. Nothing.
It's like high school.
It's high school.
It really is high school.
Yeah.
It's fucking high school, bro. I mean, that's
all-
what you live in around here, Dave, because half your fucking town is half of this town.
Yeah, I know. You walk outside and it's like, oh, hey, how are you? I haven't seen you since finger painting. You know?
I thought you were gonna...
What? You see what Epstein's done to this world? You say something
That
innocent.
laugh didn't help. No.
Yeah, no one's helping me here, folks. I'm going under the rug.
I was like, wow, he's really going there already. But he didn't.
No, I just meant I haven't seen them since kindergarten.
I know.
Guy, his sidekick, he's I think it's JP Morgan he's gonna go and start working for. I thought he'd be gone by now. I don't know, because they announced he was leaving for JP Morgan. I was like, oh God, you're gonna get in the arena with the Lions? Ugh. God, who'd want to ever? I mean, that whole arena, I got out 2 years after I got in. I was there for the 87 collapse, learned a lot, more than enough, and my poor ex-husband got burned. Well, he burned himself. I mean, innocent victim. However, you know, as I have always said to the economists at the IMF and everywhere else, who should be listening to me about the shit that's happening in the banking system and the victims it's producing, because it's not just the homeowners with mortgages and consumers and citizens and the whole kit and caboodle. It's also the people who work at it. The only people who really benefit are the ones who are lucky enough to make it through without getting burned, because it's a high risk, high yield game, and many get burned. That's why we have the boom and bust economies. So we got to get rid of that. See, this is what a socialite does. Say, boys, this is not going well, and zipper your pants. Forget about all the little ladies, all of these newbies, this fresh meat that the feminists are throwing at you for generations. Zipper your pants and let's get to work. We're sending all the whores home, and it's time to get to work and clean up this town and clean up this country.
No, I got you.
Jesus Christ.
I got you.
We're going to hell in a handbasket.
Sorry, it's been a long day, people. But this is our second podcast today. We best.
As Benjamin Franklin was told by a socialite from Philadelphia. Now, Philadelphia, oh my God, some woman a couple of days ago, she said, oh yeah, I was at Philly Convention Center. She said it was disgusting. There were mice running all over the place. Yeah, I've heard Philly is totally trashed. Why? Because all of the resources are going to all the corruption in New York, D.C., and L.A. So
That's me set this morning.
As
very
Benjamin Franklin told the socialite, she said, do we have a republic or what was it? Republic, or I forget what she said. I'd have to Google it. But do we have a republic? And he said, if you can keep it. It's the women who, create and maintain the norms and customs, and that decides whether we implement a constitution or not. Right. Labor right, workers' rights, tenants' rights, property rights, citizens' rights, litigants' rights, not LGBT bullshit. And this is particularly for the Kerry Kennedy clan, which is the new KKK in Washington. These are terrorist cells. All of these little ladies, Amon Clooney, Kerry Kennedy, Cornelia Guest, and all of her, she's moved down to Dallas because she became the only mention she got in the Jeffrey Epstein files. And Jeffrey Epstein's little black book was Cornelia Guest, Deb of the Decade. See why she left New York? All of the Capote swans and their daughters have become passe because it's a bunch of social climbers like Trump and his foreign whores who have turned it into one. Trump is like, oh, I've arrived because now I'm the king of Manhattan. And then they stuck the king of Manhattan into the White House. What could possibly go wrong? Everybody in this country is a freaking idiot.
Interesting, funny guy. But hey guys, 3 quick things. Number 1, if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. Anyway, so this woman being a socialite, her entire life has been in Palm Beach doing a bunch of nothing. And I'm sorry, I got off Kimberly Guilfoyle. Kimberly Guilfoyle, in addition to being formerly married to Gavin Newsom, was on Fox News for a lot of years, then started dating Donald Trump Jr. I think somewhere during the first administration. They became engaged at some point around maybe 2020, 2021, but they never got married. There was like no announcement that they broke up or anything. Not that I gave a fuck, but in 2024, Donald Trump Jr. starts running around and introducing himself with this Bettina lady as his girlfriend. Then his father goes on to win the election in November and makes Kimberly Guilfoyle the U.S. ambassador to Greece, where apparently she just got to open up a new McDonald's in a mall over there.
Nice.
So she's
one of the problematic socialites in New York is the Crown Princess of Greece, Marie Chantal. She's American. Her father made his fortune with the duty free in the airports, that company. And of course, her husband, the crown prince of Greece, his father was deposed. And in one of the case studies I do about, the problems of the psychiatrists, and also this gets into parental alienation. That's a polemic. If the people in the whole family court reform movement would stop squabbling over whether parental alienation exists or not, maybe we could move forward. But anyway, so that was I forget, I think it's the 5th son of the last king of Greece, and he was married. This is the father of Prince Philip, the husband of Queen Elizabeth II. Now, his mother was Princess Alice. His father was blamed for losing the Greco-Turkish War, and was exiled again for the 2nd time. Now, everybody else with him ended their lives in front of a firing squad. He made it out alive in the famous story of how Prince Philip was smuggled out of Greece in an orange crate in that fleet. So they fled. They went to Paris and lived in Saint Cloud in a home that was owned by, I believe it's his sister-in-law, Marie Bonaparte. And she's a very wealthy woman, very good friends with Sigmund Freud. So Princess Alice, her husband, starts philandering. This is the typical. His career is destroyed. He's deposed from, as is the whole Greek family. He's in exile, and so he's in shame, and he takes up with some, floozy actress in Paris, and then he needs to get rid of his wife, Princess Alice, so he has her. She's trying to keep the family together. Apparently, he says she gets all religious. I'm like, yeah, well, I kind of understand when, you go through a crisis like that, you kind of rely on your faith. And of course, this gives him a perfect opportunity because she was not crazy. She even said, what are you doing? This is ridiculous. They stuck her in an insane asylum, with Freud being one of the ones signing off on that. And I remind you, this Bonaparte woman is his good friend. See how women help in the oppression and trafficking of other women. And so anyway, poor Princess Alice, she was like put on premenopause or something, and that this was part of the treatments. I mean, just horrific things have been going on in these psychiatric hospitals, for over 100 years. Then, she makes it out of, there's some still, I mean, I'd like a deeper dive and find out. I need to get hold of documents and stuff. But then, so she's let out of the psychiatric ward, but her son has been taken from her. Her daughters are older, and they end up marrying Nazi, officers. And I forget how, like one of them dies in a plane crash with her husband. So the son, he's young, he's 9 years old. Prince Philip, he's sent off to boarding schools like in Scotland and kind of shuffled around during vacations because the father, he just wanted to take him away from the mother because the mother loved him so much. This is like transference. He was so angry and bitter, whatever, takes it out on his wife, takes up with a floozy, and turns it around. It's his wife's fault and alienates the child. Anyway, it's all very, very sick and very, very, very common in parent alienation. Anyway, I went off on. Oh, so this is the Greek family. So, I with the whole Me Too movement and the attack on Prince Andrew, I'm like, this is attack on the House of Windsor. These are the industrialists, the Me Too, the feminists. I mean, they're all in bed together. The woke liberals want to bring down the House of Windsor. And the problem, the issue, and why they want to do it is because, as you saw in the past, well, ever since the Industrial Revolution started, James Burnham pointed out in 1941, the problem of the modern age Industrial Revolution is not communism versus capitalism, which we don't have free trade capitalism, but is managerialism. And that's where we are. And so now I forget where I am in this whole story. So anyway, that led to, the deposing of the monarchs just brought in these industrialists who were even more greedy. And it was the lack of good governance of the monarchs and to properly provide the guidance, the invisible hand that they should be doing in a well-functioning capitalist society of free trade. And this gets into good governance and all of that stuff. So while I want to maintain the monarchs and kick them in the ass and tell them get their shit together and get off their frickin' ivory towers, stop with the pomp and circumstance, and start looking at what's going on in the West and their countries and bring back, some sanity and Christian values. I'm not talking about some Bible waving bullshit. I'm talking about, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Thou shalt not kill. I've learned jealousy and hatred and anger is the food of the demon. And this bullying and the hatred, that all of it's coming from so many sides, but the motor is coming from the women, want to maintain is in order to empower the devil, the demons, whatever you want to call it, but empower that negative force and that evil force within our societies. And the only way that can be combated is through the movement from the power over to a power of partnership, as Rianne Eisler keeps on pointing out. Now, how we do that, I differ with Rianne on, again, one of these PhDs who I've sent emails to over the years, but no. If you don't have a PhD and want to become one of their little academian clubs, this is why academians were deported from Germany along with the Jews who were wreaking havoc like they're doing today. And see, what the entire Jewish population, it was like, bye-bye. Okay, maybe it was just the wealthy at the top, but that was also being maintained by the Jewish population. It's still, one of the things that has enlightened me, if you will, in watching this whole rise of the Fourth Reich, because when I read the book at least 10 years ago, I think, I was like, oh yeah, this is what's happening. But what I saw, what, as I say, kind of surprised me, how much it's the left, the woke left, that went totally out of control. LGBT, this gender, just crazy bullshit that's really, really damaging society, that created the backlash of a Christian WASP right that was like, wait a second, these are not the values of the white Anglo-Saxon Protestant society. Now, these are the values of the Catholics. My mother was Catholic. My ex-husband, Spanish atheist. But as I constantly pointed out with his family, I'm like, excuse me, you Southern Europeans, Catholicism is so integrated into your society, you can't separate this, the ones who've gone atheist, yeah. You're still using the Catholic bullshit. In fact, I was watching this earlier, about the origins of the Catholic Church. Now, see, that wasn't started by Christians. That was started by a Roman emperor in his last efforts, to save the Roman Empire. Okay, so I think I'm almost finished with him.
Well, she's moved up in the world.
We wish her well.
We wish her really, really well, as Tim Dillon would say.
Yeah.
But that's like, Kimberly, you've served your time. Go to Greece.
We're going to give you a franchise.
Fine, we're going to
go to Greece, or as I've told all the socialites in my entourages for decades now, 2 decades, you can go and sit in a prison cell next to Ghislaine Maxwell, because her 20-year sentence has set a dangerous jurisprudence for all you ladies, enabling and empowering the zipper problem men and turning all of your daughters into sugar babies. Generations of honeypots and sugar babies and whores and backstabbing witches. It's all they produced. I'm like, I'm afraid for my children, my sons. I have 2 sons. I mean, this is pointed out in the Narcissism Epidemic book, and the last chapter is devoted to recommendations for ending this, but yeah, nobody's listened to those recommendations. This has been going on for a long time, and it's been exported globally. Now, part of two of the groups, if you will, to export that has been the State Department and the Federation of American Women's Clubs Overseas. Oh, and the Fulbright Foundation has been, Harriet Fulbright went to Foxcroft as well. That's been part of that. So it's been global, but I'm like, I really want my sons to have children or a family. I mean, family is the bedrock of society, and I want to break the cycle of what my ex-husband's family's done, what my family's done. I thought by marrying into this Spanish working class family, I was marrying into a solid family where people had each other's backs and they were, simple good folk. Yeah, well, I learned the working class is no different than the upper crust. But so anyway, it's gone global. I want, my sons to have children, but my God. And like every young woman I see, I'm like, would she be a good match for me? See, this is where the whole debutante, deb balls and all of this, it's just natural for mothers, you know, hen roosting mothers to be out there, okay, on the scope, always. You get to an age, you know, you're no longer, you've had your children. Now it's your grandchildren you're looking for. And for that, if you have your daughters, you want somebody who's going to be a good provider for, a husband that's going to be a good provider and a good father. If you have sons, you're on the scope. I mean, this is where it gets into like Ghislaine Maxwell, who would be going out looking for partners for Jeffrey Epstein. I mean, we're looking for future wives, but it is the same process, if you will. I'm terrified. I'm terrified. All of these girls that are, you know, of childbearing years and young age of my sons are just either stupid bimbos, backstabbing witches. I mean, each generation is getting worse and worse. I'm terrified. I want to be reunited with my sons, but I'm fighting for their future. I mean, for me, I hope they'll understand that. Again, I digress.
Give you a franchise. Find a nice man in Mykonos.
Yeah.
Tom Hanks, maybe.
Tom Hanks has got an island. Does he have an island there?
He has dual citizenship.
He has dual citizenship. Yeah, you don't want to accuse people of violence these days.
No, I'm not. I'm just
What's wrong with dual citizenship?
saying he's in
Who's
Greece.
the actor that has an island? Somebody, can we Google that? Famous actor owns
there's a whole
island.
bunch of
I
them. Mel
think it
Gibson,
rhymes with a certain.
has a,
Leonardo Benapi?
No.
yeah,
There's
he has a secret island, a private island. But yeah, Mel Gibson has a huge one. I think it was like in Fiji. But you have to also remember, Mel Gibson is Australian. So that's not like, why is it the other side of the world? No, actually for him, it's not the other side of the world. He's been living on the other side of the world from where he's from. So, and it's huge, like tens of thousands of acres. And I think it's more of a, you know, conservation type of thing. I don't think he has any Epstein Island or like some dinosaur, you know, Jurassic Park type of thing going on there. No, I think Mel Gibson, he's one of the few sane people in Hollywood, because he was called insane because he came out decades ago saying these people are crazy. They're eating people. They're cannibals. They're sacrificing children. They're like really, really weird things going on in this town. Yeah, and he was blacklisted for it. So yeah, he's definitely not of that. Right then and there, I'm like, okay, buddy. Yeah, you came out with it. You got canceled. You're good. You're a good boy. You're a good guy. I don't need to investigate him. Now the other people, though, all of the other people in Hollywood, they've been drinking and passed out Kool-Aid, just like Washington and D.C. Actually, let's do this Anna first. This, because, well, no, he talks about this Elizabeth Lane. We'll look at her first, because I have to admit, I'm like, who is this Elizabeth Lane? She's got like a very, I mean, it's not thick accent, but you can definitely tell that she's not American born. And so I Google, she is Georgian. I'm like, well, how is it that, like, where'd she come from? How is it that she's already with all of these, like, super interviews, these subscribers? This is definitely a psyop. I mean, I've been watching how with the Charlie Kirk assassination, how these podcasters, this is not organic. Like, particularly, they're Baron Coleman and Jesse Merle. Jesse on Fire are talking one time, And they were like, yeah, I had maybe 100 something views on my videos, whatever. And then all of a sudden I woke up one morning and I have tens of thousands of views. Like, viral. This is not organic. I've been watching all of I came up with the idea for Global Expats. That's a social media platform for trailing spouses, trad wives, the whole kit and caboodle. But it's not just a window dressing type of thing that the MAGA movement is doing of, the trad wife. I'm like, excuse me, the trad wife is supposed to be dedicated to her family and her husband's career, not her own career. Candace Owens is doing the same thing as Erica Kirk. Okay, she's like, who, one of the ones of like, who killed Charlie? But it's the same formula. And Riley Gaines, Isabel Brown, all of those ladies, it's just, and most of these podcasters with an agenda. Most of it is just propaganda and empty rhetoric. There's nothing behind the scenes. Tiffany Justice, Moms for Liberty, that's another one. They're all over the place. It's all just, they build these nonprofits and it gives them the funding to schmooze and cruise and jet set and get invited to the parties. I just got another in my inbox about some women's link association. Am I going to join again? Oh, believe me, lots of people are making lots of money. There's a cash flow in there you wouldn't believe, and it's all wasted money. But I've been tracking it for many, many years. Anyway, so let's, I got the same question. Who is this Elizabeth Lane? Now, she's definitely a foreign asset, foreign agent. Listen to these guys. But I do want to play this intro of Gary Melton because he is just, oh my God. It's really, it is comical. I will always admit when I am wrong. We're just for the truth. We're just for justice. He has the talking points. He's memorized the talking points. But as he even admits himself, he's a green beret. He knows how these psyops work. And he's calling out Candace for being a psyop and the whole thing being a psyop on her side in order to liberate Tyler Robinson. The premise of why Candace would be doing what she's doing is just so ludicrous. It's not even funny, and he's calling due process. I love it when he wants presumption of innocence for Erica Kirk. Everybody is allowed presumption of innocence right before he says, we all know Tyler Robinson is guilty and he needs to go to the death chair. He doesn't miss a beat. He doesn't miss a beat. I'm like, wait, okay. So for the stupid, dumb blonde, she gets a free pass. She can do anything in this world that is like suspicious. Nothing to see here, nothing to see here. Move along, folks. Move along, move along. Yeah. For the schmuck kid who happened to get caught up in some CIA psyop and is being used as a pawn. They've done it too many times. This started, we got all the goods. We got, as they call it here, all of the receipts. There's documentaries out there. There's books out there. Rise of the Fourth Reich talks about that. Jane Mayer, Dark Money, that talks about that. But those are just true books. Many, 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 many. So the proof is there. You just have to pay attention. No. Gary Melton, he wants to sell guns and wars. I loved it. Valhalla one time on his, there was somebody on the chat who did a super chat, said, "We misunderstood Trump when he said no more wars. He said no more whores." And I'm like, but he didn't make good on that one either. We got more whores and more wars. They come together. We need to get rid of the whores and we need to get rid of the wars. Believe it or not, I do believe Bobby Kennedy can help us with that one. Yeah, I still have some hopes there. Bobby, Arnold Schwarzenegger. I know, you know, Republican governor of California. Why are we where we are? But I think we can negotiate some stuff there. I think Arnold Schwarzenegger is a good egg. Misguided, but a good egg. Anyway, I want to play this because Gary is just over the top, psyop. I love it how he keeps on bringing up that since he went to UVU, like, unless you went to UVU, Candace didn't go to UVU, so she doesn't know what she's talking about. You had to go and scope the place out to be an expert on this shit. Oh, I love some of the stuff that these guys come out with that, like, makes them these great experts.
You are now entering a dangerous liberty zone where God-given natural rights are held sacred and exercised. This is your warning. Tyranny, fascism, and censorship will not be tolerated. Ideas will be exchanged freely.
Censorship will not be tolerated. Ideas will be exchanged freely.
Rigorous debate and open discourse is
rigorous debate, open discourse. I mean, this is like the antithesis of what this guy is about.
encouraged. If you're weak and your beliefs are fragile, you should leave.
If you're weak and your beliefs are fragile. Maybe this is where he's coming in this disclaimer that actually I'm a CIA op guy. Here to psyop you. See, I grew up. The thing is the tactics that are being used by MK Ultra are the exact same that is being used by abusive in the whole parent alienation arena, the cult stuff. I posted some a video. There's a, what is that? I forget. It's a woman who runs that, and she talks about the cult and, you know, this whole cult dynamics. And it's all over the place. It's the same with the domestic violence extremist, and that's the domestic violence extremist report of the Biden administration 2021. That kind of identifies the ideologies around which these different cults are how shall I say it, anchor ideologies around which they'll attract their followers, and then they get them in, and then it's this whole psyop thing that goes on in there.
Leave now.
It happens within the religious organizations as much as the secular ones. And the rhetoric is very, very similar. You know, it's just secular human rights versus religious human rights. And as I say, the message is always the same, and the hypocrisy of the implementation is, again, always the same as well.
Prepare yourself. We are now live on the Dangerous Liberty Podcast.
Ooh, Dangerous Liberty Podcast.
All right, folks. Happy Saturday out there, everybody. It's been a long couple of hours, actually, just going back to last night. This was not a planned show, so we're just going to have a little bit of fun with this. And I'm going to take you back to, I don't know, it probably happened around midnight or so last night, to what is going on with Elizabeth Lane.
Sorry, I went for a break.
No, I'm not going to debate you.
Break.
You're not worth my time, not worth the effort. But what I am going to do is I'm going to continue to expose you because you're part of the lie, network that is Candace Owens and all her other sycophants. And we're going to talk a little bit about who you are, what you do, what you represent.
Elizabeth Lane.
And again, you know what? You're not going to get content out of me, but I am going to get content out of you. But I do want to say hi to everybody over in the chat. Thank you for showing up today. I know this was kind of last minute. I want to say hi to Megan. I want to say hi to Catmandu, Texas Motherbird, Stormtrooper, the Collective Journalist, and we got Lynn from Michigan. Thank you for joining. We appreciate you guys. Of course, go ahead and like, subscribe. Down in the description below there is a link. If you'd like to become a member, we'd love to have you support our channel that way. Also, make sure you follow us on all our social media platforms. We're on X, Instagram, Facebook, and Rumble. So we're just going to jump right into this. Kind of show you guys and take you through where this began yesterday. Let's see. Here we go right here. This right here, folks, I am going to throw this screen up, and this is where it all began. Even though that we have Elizabeth Lane continuing to go around and, try to rewrite history, try to play her games and push the propaganda that she likes to push, but we're not going to have any of it. So I posted this yesterday. I was talking about Candace Owens, and it's worth reading. Candace Owens become the archetype of a toxic, vengeful woman who embodies jealousy, narcissism, gossip, slander, malice, deception, viciousness, revenge, false narratives, incitement, smear campaigns, sadism, betrayal, manipulation, duplicity, hypocrisy, ruthlessness, grifting, projection, backstabbing. She weaponizes it all, turning personal grudges into lucrative public spectacles. We see someone that's attempting to take after her.
This is par for the course on the internet. So, it's like you make these accusations against everybody. It's like, well, yeah, you're all doing it.
While someone casting herself as both hero and perpetual victim. She has made herself into a mythical or biblical parable, a living cautionary tale for men and women alike. And then out of the blue, we got Elizabeth Lane down here. Wow. I've never seen an ugly man obsessed with a beautiful woman before you. Like, we're missing some punctuation in there. You are so original, Gary. Military, folks, don't forget she's a journalist. You say, ha, how pathetic loser obsessed with the Candace Owens. And then, of course, I responded, and next thing I know, she's going back and forth. And this is the crazy thing. Just like most cycle chicks, she's sitting there constantly just rage tweeting at me. And then when I don't respond immediately, you're running away. And we're going to go through some of her tweets and just unhinged rants that she has all throughout this. But then when I do respond, I'm obsessed with her, which is pretty crazy. And again, she initiated this. Elizabeth, you initiated
all of this squabbling and shit on Twitter. I'm like, what is this bullshit? Here are the issues. Let's discuss it if you want to. I mean, it was like the only time I've ever got any of these people to engage with me. One time it was Jordan Henshaw, who keeps on electrocuting himself. Some people are afraid he's going to hurt himself, to prove that it was this electrocution theory, excuse me, with Charlie Kirk and what killed Charlie Kirk. But, his whole thing, he and Kelly Raybon are like, no, Charlie Kirk's not dead. Charlie Kirk's not dead. I'm like, I don't know. It could be a scenario that Charlie Kirk is involved. Then I'm kind of like, well, Candace Owens is then part of this psyop, and she's just playing it's a whole psyop between Erica Kirk and Candace Owens, and it's this kind of Truman show they've got going on there. I mean, Candace Owens did say at the beginning that, compare everything to a Truman show, and she's right. I mean, I don't doubt her on that. But is she part of the psyop, or is she just an innocent pawn that they're using? I'm not positive. Is it possible that Charlie Kirk's alive? Yeah, given the evidence that we've had, there's so many things. My big thing is, who was trying to get out of the car, the SUV between the hospital, between the university and the hospital? Now, Charlie Kirk didn't have his head shot off, blown off. That's what we would have expected with this 30-6. That's why everybody's got a problem with it. But so with the wound that he had, could he have just been knocked unconscious, or was he not even unconscious? Is that why everybody jumped on him? I don't know. But what I want to know is what was going on. Who's trying to get out of the car? Could that possibly be? They're saying Charlie Kirk was too tall, and that's why they couldn't close the car door. But apparently the incident with the police chatter, it's the side door that's at issue, not the back door that opens, up and down, which there is a video of that being closed when they leave UVU. So this claims that they couldn't close the car because Charlie was too tall Doesn't make sense. Again, if that's the case, why the frick would you put him in a car that's too small when you got the ambulance sitting there with the paramedics? You're going to be racing to the hospital 70, 80 miles an hour. You don't want to have a door open. I mean, this is like crazy. Why nobody's focusing on this craziness, I don't know, because it's like, wait a second, you got to provide me with some explanations that make sense. You know, the people who were in the car, what happened? Then I want, of course, where's the video when they get to the hospital? So, could Charlie Kirk be still alive? And this is whole psyop, and this is whole, he's in bed with Trump from the beginning. It's possible. Possible, but not probable. As Andrew Bustamante, one of the few things that I agree with him on, is it possible? First, is it possible? Now, after we say, is this possible, what is the probability? Okay, then we're looking at probabilities. And we can, sit there for years and years and years and say, okay, there's a probability of X for that he's still alive. There's a probability of why he's dead. We can keep on. There's so many things, unanswered questions. We can keep on discussing that till the cows come home and still not arrive at a thing. So anyway, with Jordan Henshaw, my big beef, he's got me on there and he's explaining, Charlie Kirk's alive, he's not alive. I'm like, I don't want to discuss that with you. What I want to try and figure out, or where are the questions here that we're not getting an answer to. For example, what the frick happened in the car? What happened at the hospital when we got to the emergency room? What happened to his body? You need a body. This is another thing. You need a body in order to go after somebody for murder. Do we even have a body? Or is that all part of the psyop? I don't know. Is it possible that the feds are involved? Oh, yeah. I mean, my parents lost their farm and were chased by the feds for many, many years. I got standing in claws right then and there to ask a lot of questions, but nobody will give me a voice. So is it possible? Yeah, it's possible. Is it probable? Yeah, it's very probable. So my thing was, he kept on insisting that I had to personally know somebody who had faked their death in order to opine whether Charlie Kirk had faked his death or not. I'm like, no, I don't have to personally know. First off, I have to know somebody who died and came back to life in order to know that they faked it. Otherwise, I don't know they faked it. Right? Otherwise, I still assume they're dead. I don't know that many people who died under mysterious circumstances. So, I was just like, this is ludicrous. These two are spending, they have spent, I don't know how many hours and hours and hours on the internet with this whole thing and these debates, and we're going to have a debate and we're going to debate me live. You people need to get a life. I'm like Kelly Raybon. She's a single mom. I was like, God, if I had my children with me, I'd be spending all my time with my kids, not online. I would give anything. Every Thanksgiving, every Christmas, every New Year. I just count the years. We're going on 19 now, separated from my sons. Anything in the world to be reunited with them, except sell my soul. Because if I do that, I condemn them and future generations to hell. The demons will win. So I just hope that my sons understand that everything that I've done is for their future and our future, and never would I have been separated from them for so long if anything else had been possible. I work day and night. I mean, in fact, anytime I'm not at my computer working, I feel guilty because that's where I should be. But I also know that I need a break sometimes because they will make me go crazy. So, I mean, and see, the thing is with Gary, I keep on insisting with Gary Melton because he is a perfect case study of the military-industrial complex psyops and the tactics of the propaganda and who he brings on and you know who he attacks in the whole thing. Because I mean, everybody's like cracking up with the case against Candace Owens by Brian Harpel. If anybody should be, you know, brought a lawsuit against in that whole scenario of Brian Harpel saying, you said that I killed Charlie Kirk, it's Blake Ensnar. He's out there saying it all the time. Candace has never accused Brian Harpel. She's got questions that she wants answered, like everybody else. But she's never accused him. This is why the lawsuit's ridiculous. And the Phoenix, Arizona Muslim lawyer that Gary Melton brought in to justify that lawsuit, I mean, that was precious. And I did a video on that. The guy, I'm going to have to send him an email, say, out of a professional courtesy, I think you better take a look at what's going on with Gary Melton. Because particularly Arizona ruling elite legal community, ooh, you guys are in a deep, deep pool with me. Republicans and Democrats. This is McCain, John McCain, Cindy McCain, Meghan McCain, Mike Helen of the Republican Party. Then we've got Lucy Herman. She was my older sister's best friend growing up in Tucson. Dennis DeConcini, she's left. She and her husband, she's as much a piece of work as my older sister, who passed away. And as I said to my brother, yeah, she died of like a form of leukemia. But I was like, yeah, she killed herself. To my brother, part of it was the smoking, but just the stress of constantly, just like with my mom, just like with my ex-husband, this constant manipulation of people around you to try and get them to do your bidding instead of just, like walking through life. I'll help you, and you don't have to, like, I'll scratch your back if you'll scratch mine. That's the difference between Homo sapiens and most other animals. That's why Homo sapiens are like the apex predator, because our ability to work together and the division of labor. And that's what the demonic and the bullies and the feminists and the military industrial complex wants to destroy in society and replace, the manual labor with machines. And therefore they control everybody. Or you become a waste. Ooh, there's a movie. My older sister saw this. She told me about it, that at the end of the movie, they find out it's one of these Orwellian things. They find out that all the demonstrators that they're taken off the streets, they just come through with a tractor and plow them all over and throw them into a truck. Yeah, the protein bars that the populace is eating, like food is so expensive, real food, you can't even buy an egg. And the protein bars that they hand out to the populace, that's made from the meat of the people, the demonstrators. Like, I was like, oh, gross. Yeah. That's where we're headed. That's where Gary Melton wants to bring us. And that's where Erica Kirk and CPUSA, Daily Wire, all these guys, even Megyn Kelly, Tucker Carlson, he doesn't respond to my emails either. I mean, shit. The prep schools and the Ivy League colleges are in the front line of this. All of the people they've been churning out are the ones who are responsible. Tucker Carlson keeps, I mean, he's got really interesting people. I'm really like Tucker Carlson, Julian, Dorey, I would say, are the people who bring out the most interesting interviews and stuff like it. Joe Rogan, and Joe Rogan sold his soul. Yeah. So, but Tucker Carlson, I'm like, wait a second, Tucker Carlson, because the thing is, St. George's, his alma mater, canceled him, didn't let him speak. I was like, yeah, Foxcroft canceled me from their courageous conversation, but that's not going to shut me up. I want to see him in court, along with the trustees, the head of school. Oh, I mean, woke illiberalism gone wild over there.
Initiated this entire thing. So quit trying to pretend otherwise. I think you're the one that's obsessed with me. I want to take everybody back to where Elizabeth came from. The first, I'm not sure exactly when I first heard of her, but one of the first interviews that I heard of her, she was actually, somehow she ended up at Timpanogos Hospital when Charlie Kirk was shot, which is pretty wild in of itself.
Yeah.
Out of nowhere, we have this woman that comes out and she's at the hospital with Charlie Kirk. She gets some sort of account going on there. We do know that she's from Georgia. And you know what, if you want to correct anything over in the comments, feel free to do so, Elizabeth. But the next thing you know, she's interviewing Tucker Carlson. She's interviewing ultimately Candace Owens. She interviews multiple people over there. Matter of fact, let's go over to her channel for just a moment. I want you to see her channel. So here we have Elizabeth Lane TV. If you guys would like to, you can go give her a follow. I don't really care. But we go down and let's just go down to her first. Let's see if we can find her first podcast here. I don't know, somewhere in here, right? So anyways, she interviews Senator Rand Paul rather. Did she interview Kevin Sorbo? I got some.
Rand Paul, I remember one time I went to one of the demonstrations organized by him. And I even spoke with it was the head of the Libertarian Party, Ken Molman. He was an interim head. Yeah. But Rand Paul, I'm like, okay, again, a demonstration. I'm like, well, who's organizing this? Where's, the organizers? Can I talk to them? Oh, no, nobody's organizing this. It's everybody just kind of shows up. It's a social function. I'm like, oh, great. Another one of these things. What they need is less demonstrations and get their snot-nosed brats who work for them in their offices to start answering the phone, attending constituents, instead of trying to get on the invite list to the next party or grapple up the ladder of success with all of these pseudo-government jobs in D.C. Either you work for the government or you work for a corporation.
7.8 thousand. Apparently that was 2 weeks ago. This is clearly not in chronological order. But ultimately, she interviewed Alex Jones. I think that's a short that she has there. But she gets extremely, extremely low views. And there again, she pops up out of nowhere. She ends up getting an interview with Tucker Carlson in October of 2025. Like, how do you just suddenly get an interview with Tucker Carlson? I'm sure she has a good excuse for that. Yeah. And then she has an interview ultimately with Candace Owens. She has an interview.
Freaking Tucker Carlson, he's never even responded to my emails, nor his brother. I mean, as I say, I like, and I've quoted a lot of and covered a lot of the people, particularly Dr. Richard Warner. He was again with Tucker Carlson. Yeah, Tucker, you're talking about a lot of these things that are important. But what you doing about it? Oh, you don't want to confront anybody, and you don't want any unpleasantness. And anybody to threaten to take away your because he doesn't even have a trust. I mean, the money that he was getting, because it was his stepmother from the Swanson fortune That's Swanson frozen food dinners. But I don't think there was a lot of money, and I'm not sure exactly how much he would have gotten because his father married, that was his stepmother. So trust funds, Tucker Carlson doesn't have he didn't come from money. Most of his money has been made as a celebrity journalist. Yeah, well, that can go bye-bye real quick, Tucker.
With Karakaku, she has an interview with Alex Jones. So suddenly this woman that pops out of nowhere from Georgia gets into the inner circle of some pretty big hitters when it comes to conservative media. How did that take place? How did this all happen around the Charlie Kirk assassination? I mean, those are all really legitimate questions, Elizabeth. And when you start looking at who else she's tied into, and this is a woman that is 100% pushing pro-Russian propaganda, she's pushing pro-Putin propaganda. At the very same time, she is constantly talking shit about the United States. I got a real problem with that. Got an extremely big problem with that. You come to our country, you get to enjoy the...
That's not true. Actually, Elizabeth Lane, I find her interviews very interesting. But again, I'm like, where are you coming from? How did you get all of a sudden invited to the internet club of podcasters, the YouTube in crowd? Let's just call it that, which is part of the Epstein class. But I don't know.
Freedoms. And by the way, the freedom of speech and freedoms that you would not be able to exercise in your own country, and definitely not in Russia. And you're so pro-Putin. So there's something going on here.
The thing is, censorship. There's more people in prison in England over violations of freedom of speech rights than in China or Russia. So not a good example. You should be using England as the example rather than Russia.
And, I don't know where she came out of the blue from, but we will continue to explore that. If you will, Jen, throw up that assessment that you pulled up. You did some research on it while all of this stuff was going on. And if you will, go ahead and read that. I'll pull this down. Did I lose you, Jen?
No, I got to pull it up real quick. Hold on.
No worries. But while we're over here, let's go ahead and take some super chats and some chats. Hello, Gary from Phoenix. You are one of my new favorite YouTubers. Keep up the good fight. She's not worthy of a debate. I agree. I'm not going to platform her. Look, one of the things that I'm never going to do is I'm never going to talk to somebody that just completely acts out of bad faith. If all you're going to do is lie, and the other thing that we constantly see this, we saw this with Zach. If you're just going to try to attempt to filibuster and obfuscate the truth, there's just no point in that.
I assume he's talking about Zach Costello. I'm not positive, but Zach Costello's pretty even-keeled, neutral guy amongst these podcasters. I applied. He was looking for a researcher. I applied for a job to do that. I haven't heard back from him. I'm like, I don't know why not. I'm certainly qualified. Whatever you need me to research, I can pretty much do. I might not have, paid subscriptions to all of these. You can get the records, criminal records and stuff like that. I don't have that kind of money in my budget, but if I can certainly do that, sign up for that. All you gotta do is sign up for it and get it. And as I say, hell, I don't know anybody out there who's done more research than I have in the past 20 years in all of these problems. So whatever. But as I say, I don't know what his beef with Zach is.
Candace rules not so tactical. Oh, well, thank you for the $20 and just parroting.
Oh, and Zach lives around Leesburg. That may also have something to do with it. Oh, I'm from Foxcroft, so I'm a dumb bimbo. I really don't know.
Really little line that is. Don't debate fraudster attention whores. She is chasing relevance and craves the stage. She absolutely does. It's just like, see, look at me. I want you to pay attention to me while she's throwing a fit, which is pretty hilarious. Elizabeth is crashing out. Interesting to watch. It is fun to watch. Hey, you know what? Gary's my favorite podcast where he tells the truth. Folks, that's what we're going to do every single time. And this is the thing. Once I started seeing what was happening with Candace and I started seeing what was happening with everybody else that are in her orbit, just pushing lies. And on top of that, going after Erica Kirk and TPUSA, Charlie's widow.
Excuse me. Like if Zach were to hire me and I would have an additional income from that, I could probably afford a little bit better housing, like not rat-infested housing, like low-income housing. I could actually have some decent housing. Ocasio-Cortez said everybody should have decent housing. That's why she has an apartment here in Washington and one in New York. Now that little girl, she's a bartender. That's her job experience before becoming a congressman, or congresswoman, excuse me. Maybe, well, congressman. Um, so let's see. A snot-nosed bartender from New York who's pretending to be of working class and she's not, is voted into Congress and wreaking havoc. And I can barely find a minimum wage job, even in all the restaurants here in DC. And I'm just like, keep on doing case studies on how everybody in the city is turning the city and country into a third world with their labor rights violations, mismanagement. I mean, I'm like constantly horrified. I'm anti-sugar. Like we need to get this country off of its sugar. But I'm working right now in a place that sells churros, donuts, and ice cream. So I'm like, and I like ice cream. I mean, ice cream every once in a while. A donut every once in a while. But obviously this country does it more than just a little. Every once in a while, and this progresses, starts with the sugar addiction, and then gets into like opioids eventually. But I'm like, okay, great. And I'm like, okay, I got a thing to make milkshakes. Let's make some milkshakes, some smoothies. Let's sell. We have, for example, Saturday they're going to be closing. I keep on telling them, this neighborhood, you've got some young families in the DuPont Circle neighborhood, Logan Circle, that here you've got a space, an enclosed space. So whether it's hot or cold outside, doesn't matter. And we can set up a little corner, kids to, get some tables and chairs, some color, some crayons. You don't have to do anything fancy. Have a little corner where they can play. And the parents, they've got a screen. You can put up some movies there, like some cartoons. And then the parents can eat in peace. Because I know with toddlers, you can bring in people like that. No, instead, all of you places downtown, you want to put in Groupon bottomless brunch to encourage the alcohol addictions that we have in this country. And we got everybody throwing up in the bathroom. Or these social networking bullshit things that the only one who makes any money or benefits from that are the ones organizing the event, or the ones who providing the food and drink and venue. Anyway, I digress. Let's go back to Gary.
I don't see how anybody can just stand by and not say something and start going through this and say, no, that's not going to happen in this country. And of course, my concerns back in November and December have completely played out to be true. Now we start inserting what allegedly, I will allegedly say, is absolutely a state-sponsored mouthpiece. Like, that's the only logical conclusion. And folks, by the way, there's a lot of heavy hitters that are now doing research. So Elizabeth, you've drawn the attention of a lot of people out there.
Yeah, state-sponsored mouthpiece. I agree. But so is Gary. Look in the mirror. Look in the mirror.
Of what you're doing, what's going on with you, the way that you are intentionally subverting this country and the Trump administration. So
subverting this country. How do you subvert a country? No, you subvert the U.S. Constitution. I mean, I know it's just, I do the same thing. I make slips like that. So I'm not going to do a blooper on him. He did that one time on Candace. I'm like, it makes you look like an asshole, Gary. We all make mistakes and we all, mispronounce words, particularly if you're on a podcast and talking for hours and hours. I do it all the time. Oops, sorry.
You got the eye of Sauron on you, and rightfully so. So we're going to figure out what's going on with you and what's happening. Appreciate Gary Tourette's Tanya couldn't run her mouth like this in Russia against their government, but she shills Putin here while trashing the U.S. because we actually allow free speech. I couldn't agree more. And Candace, let me know when you, Jen, let me know when you pull that up.
Free speech for all of the journalists and podcasters. And even that, this is, Juan Williams, fired from NPR in 2010. That was the first time I saw, a freedom of speech issue. This was about the Muslims. Megyn Kelly, about the blackface. And I think that was associated with Diana Ross. I was like, oh, wait a second then. Well, then if Megyn Kelly is going to get fired for blackface for dressing up as Diana Ross, then I think we should fire the black Marilyn Monroe who's dressing up as Marilyn Monroe for Halloween. She won me out at Succotash. I dressed up as a founding father, John Dickinson, trying to promote that and stuff. I have a Marilyn Monroe dress, but I lost that many years ago. But I do have that, like the white Marilyn, I called it my Marilyn Monroe dress. When she sang Happy Birthday to JFK, I wouldn't be able to fit into it. But anyway, she barely fit into her dress. So I lost out. I was like, oh, if I had known I was supposed to dress up like Marilyn Monroe to win, maybe I would have done that. But anyway, I was like, I lost out to black Marilyn Monroe. So do we fire her? And that's the thing. What? All of this freedom of speech is only for the journalists? And then I'm getting fired right and left. Let's see, some of my favorite. Okay, so I get fired for supporting Bobby Kennedy. Now, the pretext was that I had offended a snot-nosed brat assistant manager because when she told me that she was Hungarian origin and American Indian, I said, what tribe, like what region and what tribe? Because I'm looking into all of this and the history of the United States. And the next day I come in. I mean, I was like, this has happened several times, so I can't say that I was like completely taken by surprise because this is par for the course how they do it. In fact, there was the girl who got fired from TPUSA and she reported it. And I'm like, yeah, this is what's happening. This is like so inappropriate and so illegal. It's not even funny. They're like, I mean, what they want is me to throw a fit and get really angry, which of course I am, and I got to keep my cool. And they're waiting for me to throw a fit so they can call the cops. And this did happen with at Mikasa. This is above DuPont Circle, Need and Design, and they did this to a black man, an African black man, whose father is in the diplomatic corps. Oh, you should see the African Americans of D.C. and their war with the Africans coming in here, particularly the upper crust ones. I mean, they have their beefs. The upper crust they despise because they're wealthy, and it's so again socioeconomic issue. And then you also have the poor immigrants that are coming in. But the African Americans and the Africans, blacks, ooh, they're at war. Oh, they'll unite against a common enemy, just like the feminists will unite against a common enemy. The Asians or the Jews or the Catholics, they're all been, ever since the Catholics came to Washington in the 50s with the Kennedys, all the different minorities have been, through affirmative action, replacing the WASPs, which these were this country was founded by WASPs. The Founding Fathers, the American Revolution. Now I'm going to get into, Candace Owens' criticism of the Freemasons and the Illuminati and all of the things going on in there. Of course, these are issues that my WASP family and friends don't want to address and why I've been canceled. And yeah, we got to address them, but leaving the country, letting the country go to shit and become a third world because you want to sit on your podium and ease your conscience by charity for all of these minorities and refugees that you got coming into the country all the time because you keep on creating wars all over the place. So you create the refugee crisis. So we have a steady supply of immigrants who are just happy to get out of the war zone, and they come here and they trash the country, and then they're given jobs, preferential treatment for jobs that, like the HR people at the Federal Reserve say that Americans won't do when he's looking at somebody who's doing it. I mean, I want to see the entire HR industry, all of these people, whether it be IMF, World Bank, Federal Reserve, White House, all of these HR people in court. They're crazy. Absolutely crazy.
That one hurt. That hurt, Gary. That hurt bad.
I was reading a tweet. I apologize. That was like him.
All right, you got to switch it around.
I will just like, I want to show this real quick.
Okay.
So here we have Elizabeth Lane. Gary, you're still talking, buddy. Ha, and still no sit down. Coward, pussy. Oh, and by the way, let's just go over here to our chat. Let's go to the chat real quick. This is how she wants
apparently she wants to come on and debate with Gary Melton. Oh, I would love that. I would love to see that. Raise your hand if you want to see Gary Melton and Elizabeth Lane. Leave a comment if you want to see Gary and Elizabeth in a debate together.
to reach out to me. This is how she wants to reach out to me. And where's our unlisted ones? Let's go here. See if I can find this psycho. I'll pull it up here in a second. She wants to reach out to me while calling me a pussy, but while calling me a coward. She wants to sit there and try to say, and then try to get me, or I don't know, threaten me into debating her. Get out of here. Elizabeth, you're a clown. Go ahead, Jen. What you got? That's not it.
You got it pulled up?
Yep, I got it pulled up. Go ahead and read it.
So it says Elizabeth Lane wants to present herself as an investigative journalist and an international politics expert while attacking a former Green Beret and a service-disabled veteran. Fine. Let's investigate, shall we? Her public branding claims expertise in law, international relations, geopolitics, and journalism. But the specific education, where did I go here? But her specific education trail I've seen points to the American Academy of Dramatic Arts in Los Angeles. Theater, not law. Acting, not foreign policy. Performance, not credentialed expertise. Her website also claims she has authored 2 books, yet I've not found the titles, the ISBNs, publishers, retail listings, library records, reviews, or any verifiable catalog trail tying those alleged books to Elizabeth Lane. When someone claims to be an author, basic proof should not be this hard to find. Then there is the identity trail. Public information places Elizabeth Lane in Midvale, Utah, and connects her to the UNIFYD/November Lane. But public search records also show associated names, including Liz, and I'm not even going to try to say that, Liz Lane and Lizzie L. whatever. I'm not posting her address, her phone number, or her private information because I don't dox people unlike Candace Owens and her ilk. I'm asking a legitimate question. Why is a woman marketing?
Candace Owens has never posted anybody's address or any of that stuff. Now, perhaps she's posted some business addresses, but excuse me, that's fair game. I mean, business addresses are not private information. You have a business address, particularly because you need to, that is the place where you can contact that person, and it is public information. Duh. If you've got a private business address, I want to know why.
Herself as a serious investigative journalist operating behind a public-facing identity that appears incomplete, vague, and unexplained. And the foreign influence concern is not coming from nowhere. My detective reported that Elizabeth Lane, described as an American actress of Georgian descent and a UNIFYD TV anchor, appeared on, it looks like gonorrhea, I'm sorry, a program connected with a pro-Kremlin Georgian outlet, media outlet, where anti-Western narratives are circulated. So before Elizabeth Lane mocks U.S. military veterans, maybe she should answer a few basic.
Anti-Western stuff is promoted. I'm not sure if it's anti-Western or exposing some hard truths and just being like, you guys, look over here. We can clean up our shit. And then there's nothing there for them to criticize. Instead of, oh, shut them up, so we don't get any criticism for things that we're really doing.
Basic questions. What is her actual education in law and international relations? Because that is listed on her LinkedIn. Where are the degrees? Where are the books? Where are the ISBNs? Where does the public?
Okay, now she doesn't necessarily need a degree. I mean, I would consider myself an expert in international law, international relations, even though I don't have a degree. I did apply to the School of Foreign Service at Georgetown, but I didn't get in. Yeah, you have to be like a straight A student. But I'm actually glad I didn't get in. And John Walcott, I'll have to go in. That gets into the Salem witch trials and how the same tactics are being used today. And what John Walcott, his great-great-great-great-grand aunt, was one of the victims of one of the participants of the Salem witch trials. And I'm like, and he's a big wig. He's retired now, but School of Foreign Service at Georgetown. And I'm like, yeah, another one who's like, what's all your you're a waste of time and money, and you've learned nothing from generations and generations of the problems within your family and our country.
Records show whatever that last name is. And why does her media footprint keep overlapping with pro-Kremlin adjacent narratives? Because right now, Elizabeth Lane, investigative journalist, looks less like a credential and more like a manufactured brand. A theater background, vague resumes, unverified books, unexplained name trail, a conspiracy media platform, and documented pro-Kremlin adjacent appearances. I think maybe my friends over at the CIA, FBI, and DHS should be looking into the Georgian-born propagandist who clearly is running an op in the United States of America. Secretary Rubio, sir, your people may want to look into this one. I truly believe she may have lied on her paperwork. She is definitely spewing anti-American propaganda. And what was that you said? Oh, yeah.
But my job at the State Department is if I identify someone who I believe is present, someone who's a visitor, a guest to the United States, and we identify that their presence in our country poses a threat to our foreign policy, to our national security, we're gonna take that person's visa away. We're gonna take the visa away. That's what we're gonna do. But my job at the State Department is if I identify someone who I believe is present, someone who's not.
Now, we're in the background of that. Jen, can you turn that off? Yeah, and going back here, again, this is her YouTube channel. And she went from nothing to suddenly landing these extremely big interviews with Tucker Carlson and the like. And it just doesn't make sense to me. And what we've been seeing and saying for a while, that whether it's Qatar, whether it's Russia, whether it's China, look, there is clearly an influence operation that's taking place. And suddenly all of these people suddenly have these ties. And now we have Candace Owens going to Russia after everything that she's been doing. Look, we've been saying this. Like, hey, I've been saying this since December at a minimum, that there are foreign adversaries that are boosting her numbers, that are pushing her content. And why? Why is it? It's because everything that she says is subversive and destructive and an negative impact on the Trump administration.
Yeah,
and
everything that she says is not subversive, destructive for some, of course. You're exposing corruption. It's going to be destructive for the people that you're exposing. I mean, that's just part of the game. Goes with the territory. Don't become involved in any kind of corruption. Then nobody will have anything to expose about you. I mean, when the whole thing started with me in Spain in 2007, and I saw what the lawyers were doing, and I thought, I saw the witch hunt that they were starting on me, my ex-husband and everybody else and his family. I was like, oh, you guys, please. I've made a lot of mistakes in my life, but I got nothing to hide. Unlike just about everybody I know on this planet, including members of my family, I've never done anything to intentionally harm people. Again, I've made mistakes, Yeah, I come from a privileged class, but believe me, growing up with a mother like mine is no cakewalk. And it destroys you or it makes you stronger, and know who and where the enemies are and what to do about it. So anyway, we got honeypots all over the place. We got psyops all over the place. You got foreign agents, handlers. The upper crust is infected with it's of epidemic proportions, as is the narcissism and psychopathologies amongst them.
We see what's taking place with the woke right. They're pushing this anti-Semitic tropes, trying to divide the right so that we lose the midterms. And any country, not just Russia, any of our adversaries.
It's all about winning the elections. this is what Gary's concerned about, and what the Republicans and the MAGA base, the supporters of Trump, just get that message. We got to win the elections. We got to win the elections. Anything. We got to, it doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is your loyalty to the emperor with no clothes.
Including those in Europe, UK, that pretend that we're allies. Those folks do not like the Trump administration. They do not like Trump. And so anyone that is pushing this horseshit, look, they're going to look at that as an opportunity, and they're going to capitalize on that and what's going on with that. So, here we have off the record who is Donald Trump, who is Vladimir Putin. I have some excerpts of some of these things that I don't know if we'll get into them today, but look, she's extremely pro-Putin. Here we have Karakaku, and then I want us to look at when do we have up here? The interview with Tucker. I don't know. These things aren't in order, but regardless. So I can tell you right now, it was like October, is less than a month after Charlie Kirk was assassinated. And Candace was already pushing all of these crazy conspiracies, trying to tell you that the FBI and the Trump administration were involved in this, trying to tell you that Israel, the French, and of course, you're going to have people like this, propagandists, that are going to come and they're going to insert.
The French, this goes back to the elections, Sarkozy and Dominique Strauss-Kahn, 2011. The second he was arrested in New York for sexual assault of a Sofitel maid, I was like, that's a political coup to bring him down and remove him from the French elections because he's going to win against Sarkozy. And effectively, that's what it is. So, again, Candace Owens, she's ignoring me. I got a lot of shit to whistleblow on with the French. I mean, this gets into the Brunel, the models, the movie industry, actresses, all of that. I know all of these people. Been rubbing shoulders with my entire life. That's why everybody wants to shut me up. I got the goods on them.
Insert themselves into this. It's wild to watch. It's wild to watch. And it's wild that so many Americans are actually going to fall for this. It's a little embarrassing, actually, because it is so obvious. This isn't even a good op. It hasn't been from the beginning. But because we have somebody like Candace Owens that's creating all of this manufactured suspicion and creating these out of whole cloth, just pulling out of the air, saying, hey, you know what? I had some anonymous source. Now I'm going to feed you some unverifiable information. And I want you to completely disregard all the evidence over there. Folks, do you understand what that does to our society?
She does check out. I mean, she's not a stupid woman. She does check out, as they call it, vet these people. For example, I do believe Joe Kent was the one who looked into, the military records and the records of Mitch Snow, and it all checked out. This stuff that he was, what do they call it? Stolen valor. First off, I want all of the military people out there. Stolen valor? What you've been fighting for since at least the end of World War II, we could debate whether World War II and World War I were really about what they were about. But okay, let's just go into the Korean War, everything post World War II, to make the discussion a little less contentious. But everything since then has been the exact opposite of what the founding fathers and all of their soldiers fought and died for. And every single time a soldier joins the military or goes and fights in a foreign war in the name of democracy in America, you're a liar. You're a hypocrite and you're a liar. And this is stolen valor of the worst kind. So you want to have a discussion about stolen valor, particularly Gary Melton? Be welcome, more than happy to come on your platform and discuss it with you.
I think we should always hold our government accountable. I think we should always question anything that they say. But when we're just taking these false narratives and we're saying, hey, you know what, that evidence that you have is being supplied by the FBI.
I think we should always hold our government accountable and ask questions. But when anybody contradicts them, That's not acceptable. See the hypocrisy there.
The ATF, Utah State, the SBI, local law enforcement, and we're going to say that's all fake. That's all fake. And it's, by the way, it's the same evidence that the defense is going to get, and they're going to be able to analyze, and they already are. And you can, like, the defense isn't saying any of this. The defense isn't saying.
No, the defense. This is precisely the problem. The defense has not gotten the information that they need. This is the metadata on these messages that were apparently sent after Tyler Robinson was in custody. Therefore, not possible that Tyler Robinson did them. Gary Melton now is contending that Tyler Robinson, he's sitting there. The thing is, he turned himself in with his parents, but they had to investigate thoroughly what he was saying before they actually arrested and charged him. So Gary's contention is this is debunking what Baron Coleman has pulled out. And Baron Coleman, I mean, he's a lawyer, and he noticed, he was like, wait a second, you arrested him here, he's in custody. He couldn't have done these texts. So Gary Melton is saying, well, yeah, he did it because he was just sitting there with his parents. He hadn't, when he came in to turn himself in, they just had him sit there overnight with his parents without charging him anything, because apparently they're investigating whatever. But so the contention of Gary is Tyler Robinson is sitting there with his parents and doing these text messages? Yeah, I don't think so. It doesn't make any sense. Illogical. Yeah, common sense. Thomas Paine.
That you got the wrong guy. The defense isn't, they're not even trying to argue that. They're not saying, you know what, hey, we want these text messages pulled because, you know what, these are faked. They want you to believe, number one.
I keep on saying Gary Melton, all you have to do is dress him up as one of the British soldiers, you know, during the Revolutionary War. And we could put him on the screen.
Against all timelines and in spite of the facts that Baron Coleman, for instance, wants you to believe that this whole thing is a lie when he was actually taken into custody. He wants you to believe that on September 11th, he was taken into custody at 6:25 p.m. We know through multiple court documents and through testimony and through press conferences that Tyler Robinson came into custody around 9 p.m. 9 p.m. Utah time, all right, Mountain time, not UT Candace Owens, all right? And then he wants you to believe not only was he in custody several hours prior to what we know to be true, but I guess what we're trying to say is that some sheriff's deputy took his phone and created some sort of confessions and put them on Discord. It's nuts.
Okay, so this is the first time. See how it works. So Gary Melton, Baron Coleman demonstrated. He even said, "Wait a second, I don't know why I didn't notice this." Okay, here's the charging documents, and this is really important. Finding these little tiny details, saying, "Wait a second, this makes it impossible." One of my favorite is a story, one of these crime stories, you know, TV, and this woman is accused of, I don't know, murder or whatever, but the key evidence is that her signature on some documents or checks, whatever, but her signature, and her defense, nobody can believe that they're doing this. Her defense says, can you write your, sign your name here? And they're like, why is this is her signature. Why is he having her sign? So we're going to see her signature is the same as what's on these documents. He's crazy. Says, sign, please. And he said, okay, can you do your signature again? So she does it again. And he's like, okay, look at these documents. All of them are the exact same signature. Exact same. This is a forgery. Nobody signs their name exactly the same every single time. They're always going to have a like if you're in a hurry, you're going to sign it, it's squiddable, but it will never be exactly the same. And that's why he said, look, here, she just signed that in front of you. See, there's a discrepancy between these two. So see how these documents, same signature, it's a forgery. Now, even, back in the day when we had photocopies and stuff, I mean, now it's real easy with copy paste. But back in the day, that was easy. You just take the person's signature, put it on the document, photocopy it, and you got the document signed by that person. That's why you have to have the original. Now, with everything, internet, you need the metadata. Back in the day, it's easy to forge this. That's why we have to have the original that was signed by that person. And copies were not accepted because it was too easy to forge. So, this is where he interjects and makes a claim that someone said or did something, Candace or one of her Candyland group, and nobody ever said that. Nobody ever did that. He's making it up. But see, it sounds good. It makes his argument sound better, more convincing. That's the sign of a psyop.
So while we should always be skeptical of our own government, while we should always hold them accountable, the moment that people start running these anti-American narratives and try to undermine our entire justice system.
Anti-American narratives try and undermine our justice system. First, anti-American. His loyalty is the military-industrial complex. He considers that the American dream. His loyalty is to that. It's not to the U.S. Constitution, just like all of the military people. He's incredible.
And undermine society, trying to convince you that it's a good thing if we accuse people without any evidence and we demand from them.
And the justice system, undermine the justice system. The justice system has been weaponized and being used to extort people, to harass people, to defame them. It's not being used for justice. And it's being used to enable and empower the PDFs and child trafficking and human trafficking. And to deny that and say it's just, a figment of imagination of a bunch of pissed off moms is to be in bed with the devil. I'm sorry. Either you're here to protect the women and children, or you're here to exploit, grape, and eat them. Yeah, cannibalism. That's what you're protecting. Those are the values that Gary Melton is protecting and defending.
We demand from them some sort of proof of innocence. When we start seeing this, folks, that's an operation. That is psychological operations 101. And, it gets a little...
The proof of innocence, see? The proof of innocence. Tyler Robinson is expected to provide his proof of innocence. No, it is up to the state to provide guilt beyond reasonable doubt. Anybody who cannot understand that principle of due process in the courts and instead voluntarily participate in witch hunt trials against Tyler Robinson and protect and defend people who are acting very, very, very strange and very, very guilty is to undermine due process, the judicial system. He's trying to undermine the judicial system.
A little bit crazy on that whole thing. I do want to show you this real quick too, as we go through some of these notifications. If I can find, matter of fact, I got some bookmarks I want to show you. The insane things that this woman has been saying. Oh, we're gonna play this because this was pretty hilarious. We had Regina Connell, she actually posted this.
Another word. Elizabeth Lane, this is English 101, right? The word pussy means another word for cat. Cat. En español es gato. Pussy is also slang term.
Pues mira, señora, tiene que tener cuidado. Todos los españoles y todos los latinos que estaban metiéndose en ese. Porque también tengo los problemas de América del Sur. Por ejemplo, yo quiero saber por qué yo soy la sola que estoy preguntando al gobierno americano por qué en the Plan Colombia 1999 soy la sola a decir, oye, muy bien a quitar la producción de la droga aquí. I was living in Bogotá, estaba viviendo en Bogotá en esa época. Muy bien a quitarlo aquí, pero mientras que el consumo está subiendo en otras partes, ¿qué vas a hacer? El problema de producción de la droga va a ir en otra parte. Tiene que quitar el consumo. ¿Qué está haciendo el gobierno americano? ¿Sabe lo que me ha dicho hijo de puta del Departamento de Estado? The civil servant. ¿Qué te importa, señora, mientras que lo quitamos acá? It took all of my self-control para cerrar la boca y no decir al señor, mira, señor, usted es un gilipollas, y yo he escuchado unos gilipollas del gobierno americano, de la gente que trabaja para ellos, desde que soy joven, desde que me fui a Washington, y tenía 17 años, pero eso es el colmo de estupidez. Okay, little lady, the Latinas wanna come after me? See, I know how to defend myself. Oh, Lord, I tell them, I'm like, are you kidding? With a Spanish mother-in-law? Well, you Latinas, you know what I'm talking about. With a Spanish mother-in-law, oh, I learned real good. What I didn't learn from my Catholic mother, I learned from my atheist Spanish mother-in-law. Así no me jodas, porque yo te jodo a ti. Ana Navarra, ¿cómo se llama la niña de Hollywood actress? Eva Longoria. ¿Quiere meterse conmigo? Bueno, no me importa. Mete. Porque yo soy para el pueblo de América Latina, tanto que mi pueblo aquí, mientras que ustedes son unas putas que se meten en la cama con cualquier que pasa por allá. Ingrid Betancourt y Astrid Betancourt de Colombia, primera en la línea. ¿Vale?
For vagina. Why do you only use words like vagina and penis? But before I rip up this English lesson, learn some new words besides cunt and pussy. You will go further in Americas. Or just stay on your knees. It seems you're only obsessed with, Lord forgive me.
Yes. I also want to show you guys this right here because Elizabeth jumped on here. She's got her accent down. Gary, you can use all the excuses you want. The internet is here for everyone to see. You started posting about me and attacking me, thinking I would ignore it like some people do. Too bad for you, buddy. I don't ignore people like you. I destroy them. No one. Now, one more time, you have a chance to sit down and debate. Are you still going to run? Great. Let the record show it. Gary is going to run like all the others before him. You keep talking, and I'll keep responding to your bullshit. You don't get to run away from me. Too bad for you, buddy. First of all, if you think I'm afraid of you or that you can intimidate me into creating content for you, you're out of your mind, Elizabeth. I'm not afraid of you. I think this is hilarious. This is you throwing a fit. But I also want to just point out that this is a lie. This is an absolute lie. Oh, yeah, now she's going to talk to my wife. Talk to my wife. See how that works out for you. But I do want to take you back here, and I did post.
That is not going to end well for her.
Well for you at all. And I want to pull up some of the mouth on you. Like you are not the type of woman that any respectable man would ever want. I mean, it's just a fact. Like, I don't know, like, and I feel sorry for you because you may spend all this time making yourself look pretty, and that's questionable, but you can spend all that time with these outward appearances. And if you are miserable on the inside, which everything that I'm seeing here clearly indicates that, you need to freaking, number one, you need to get right with God. You need to find some time to pray. And you need to get saved. And then, like, a lot of these other things will work themselves out. It's as simple as that. But, you know, here we go. Pussy, 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 cunt this, cunt that. I mean, it's no, you're not a person I would want to hang out with. You're not going to find a respectable husband that way. And that's, you know, I don't know what to say. And, you know, I think there's some, again, I don't know if you are working for someone. I mean, I have my suspicions on that. All I have is what you present as evidence of those things. And there's some major.
I love how Gary says, you're not going to find a respectable husband like that. Yeah, I think that this woman, Elizabeth Lake, or Lane, well, she's one of these having it all feminists. She's a cougar. She didn't care about finding a respectable husband. She's a cougar.
Major red flags when it comes to that. Here we go. I have criticized Putin countless times for being weak and not taking out a demon in Ukraine called Zelensky. So the real problem here is that Putin is not killing enough people. That's what's going on here. I was trying to find the one where I actually listed and showed you. But you're lying. And this is what you do time and time again. Well, we're going to play this in just a second, too. Little chicks on the right. Love those girls.
Oh, God. Yeah, it doesn't surprise me that he loves the chicks on the right. Oh, my God. I can't wait to see those little ladies in the Nuremberg trials, too. Oh, God, are they obnoxious. See, they're as bad as their counterpart, which is I Have Had It podcast. That's the woke left, led by Jennifer Welch in her retirement in Manhattan with John Lemon and the other Capote Swan wannabes, and trying to revive the woke illiberals. The only positive thing that we've got from the Trump administration yet was his attacking the woke illiberals on their transgender and the he, she, they, it. Are you a tree? Are you a person? Are you an inanimate object? Are you a girl? Are you a boy? I mean, just crazy shit. I'm sorry. No, you do not have a right. You do. The U.S. Constitution clearly states for the general welfare. This is exactly what brought down Rome, the cabals and factions, and it's got to stop. This is a white Anglo-Saxon Protestant nation, and those are the norms and standards for which the founding fathers wrote the U.S. Constitution, and all of them fought and died. And everybody who came on board afterwards, the Astors, the Vanderbilts, the Kennedys, all of these families came in after the American Revolution to cash in on Western expansion. Now, you're just unwelcome guests who have overstayed your welcome. Now, if you want to stay in this country, you better reform your ways. This is high noon at the OK Corral, ladies. And if you want to pick a fight with the respectable men and women of this country whose families have lived honorably, whether you are a newbie, came in after the American Revolution or before, and contributed to the things that make this America, that make the United States great, more power to you. Welcome aboard. But if you want to sink the ship, go sink another ship elsewhere.
Yeah, look at this post. I missed this one completely. Shady Lady Katie brought this up. Says, you want to know how I feel about Putin? I'll gladly tell you in detail how I feel about Putin. You want to know how I feel about Zelensky? I'll tell you that too. Just grow some balls and come debate. What's wrong? You want to know what my favorite sexual positions are? No, I don't want to know what your favorite sexual positions are. Like, I don't know what kind of dudes you're used to hanging out with. But
yeah, excuse me? This is what I'm saying. A freaking cougar. I mean, when I first met, my brother told me that our sister, my younger sister, she was a cougar. And I was like, what's a cougar? Like, I know what a cougar is. In the mountains. What's a cougar? And he's like, like the predatory instead of the predatory men looking for jail bait. It's predatory woman looking for jail bait. I was like, this is progress. This is progress. Oh, that's interesting.
You need to find some different people to hang out with because what you're doing is absolutely nuts. Again, Elizabeth Mascalane, lying Putin propagandist, caught lying again. She claims you started posting about me and attacking me. The only thing she got right, the internet is here for everyone to see. First interaction that I had with you was right here. This is it. So don't come at me trying to say that I started all this. That was somebody's version of her, which I think they were very overly generous there. But let's talk about what you said regarding Charlie Kirk. Because I'll be honest with you, just from the reaction that Candace had, I think she was even taken aback by the lunacy of this. But
he came to me in my dream, which was weird. And I was worried.
Let's go back to
I didn't know Charlie Kirk. I never met Charlie Kirk. And he came to me in my dream, which was weird. And I was worried because I was like, I don't think I'm doing enough for this investigation because, I don't only work on Charlie Kirk. I work on multiple other things. So it's like I've got a small team and I'm like, I don't think I'm doing enough. There's so much smoke in here and I have to maybe try harder. So I go to sleep and
oh God, this whole thing. I have a small team to, they all pull this one out. I have a small team. And they're being fed information by the different government agencies or corporate interests, whoever they're working for, because this is also follow the money. Who's funding them? I've been looking for funding for my global expats for 20 years. In fact, it was when Microsoft became interested in the project, or business manager or business developer for Microsoft in 2007 is when my ex-husband flipped out. So, I mean, I got lost income on this thing. I got billions and billions and billions in damages. My lawyers in Spain, I said, I finally found somebody to file with the International Criminal Courts, my case is in there. Everything's going to be looked at. I said, look, y'all, you can hang your lawyer out to dry that handled my divorce, or you can keep on staying in the boat with him and try and protect them. I'm just looking for $100 million. That's a drop in the bucket of the investment money and what you're going to be having to dish out. I'm going to destroy you. This is one of the top law firms in Spain and Portugal, Cuatro Casas. I wanted to go for gold. Okay, so we go for gold because Portugal's in there as well. Taylor's Port, the heiress of Taylor's Port, went to my boarding school in England. I went I fell in love with Portugal. She invited me, and I fell in love with their vineyards and everything. I mean, nowhere in my dreams do I have any desire to hurt any of these people. But I'm sorry, your countries are going to shit. Globalization is failed. And I keep on explaining to the international community, your sustainable development goals are going to create the same income inequality, violence, dictatorships, and rising nationalism, all the same problems as Reaganomics trickle down has for the same reason. The purse strings of your investment money and your spending money are held in the hands of the same narcissists and psychopaths. And the international community has just added another layer onto this layer cake that you got going on that is eventually going to fall down. So follow the money. All of these, look at it. Trump said he was going to make America great again and drain the swamp and bring manufacturing jobs back to the country. That's how he got in the White House in the first place. But yet, how much money keeps on being thrown at these social media influencing platforms under the guise of journalism. They're propaganda platforms. Coaches, oh God, life coach, work coach, comfort dogs, Pilates, social media networks, pornography, black market on the internet. Oh, you can buy anything, even organs and children and anything you want, you can get there. That's where the jobs have been produced. I mean, we need I got a whole economic plan for Washington. Oh, it's going to crash its GDP at the beginning. No worries. I keep on saying, don't worry. The stock market, don't worry about it. Let it collapse. That's not your economy. GDP, that's not your economy. The people who work. I mean, Washington, let's make this a model city. A model city of what people should do instead of what people should not do. I mean, the casino there at National Harbor, oh, let me close that down. I actually was thinking like a big sports center, like, sports center and artisan. My whole global expats started with my interest in the artisan products and the culinary traditions and, cultural exchange, but in a positive way instead of an exploitative way. I mean, you need a complete shift in the allocations of resources. And this is why all of the little ladies in the suburbs don't like me, regardless of what color their skin is or what religion they practice or don't practice.
Comes to me. And I don't know, you tell me if that's like Charlie. He hugs me for some reason, smiles, and he's like, you're doing just fine. I never knew him personally.
Just wait, guys, look at the look on Candace's face.
I agree.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I think she's a little pissed. Like, now you're taking over my grift. You're
Yeah, I agree. This whole dream stuff, Elizabeth Lane, you're weird. You're really weird. And like Candace is looking at her, I agree. I would be like, you dreamt about Charlie and this is what he said to you? Come on. You're a con artist.
stepping on my toes, chick. I thought it was pretty funny, but you could see that look on her face.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
Elizabeth.
not only that, Gary, but she literally slighted Candace while she was on there. She's like, well, I don't just focus on Charlie. Like, that's all Candace does, which, I'm not defending Candace by any means, but she's coming on Candace's show and then slighting Candace and then trying to one-up her on the Charlie dream grift.
Now, the thing is, Charlie and Candace were good friends. And it hadn't been to Candace being like really pissed off and really concerned about her friend, and instead being like a Capote Swan, like Ann Woodward or Catherine Graham and all of her friends. Ann Woodward kills her husband. Catherine Graham gets her husband to kill himself, but nobody notices anything because they're too busy shopping and doing lunch. Only one who happens to notice is Truman Capote. He outs out Ann Woodward, and he makes Catherine Graham his special guest for the Black and White Party, while she takes over the Washington Post, and it becomes an arm for the CIA. See how Washington works? And it's been working with New York for a long time.
He only talked to you. He hugged me. You know what? I'm gonna be as generous as possible here, and I think I'm gonna interpret that a different way. I hear what you're saying, and maybe that's true. I don't know, but I'm gonna say that she was saying, "Hey," because what she predicates that with is, "I'm not doing enough." And I think what she was trying to say, I'm being extremely fair to you, Elizabeth, is that I need to be doing more and not some of this other stuff. So I'm gonna try to be gracious toward her and extend her grace that she would never extend to anybody on this side of it. But I hear what you're saying.
Doing just fine. I never knew him personally, but he was smiling and he hugged me and he's like, "You're doing just fine." So I remember like just asking him like, "Who killed you?" So I did. I was like, "Who killed you?" Like, that would be easier to tell me, like, who killed you? And you know what he said? He said, "The same people that killed JFK."
Oh my gosh. Same, if you were going to transcend the astral plane, you think he'd come up with something a little bit more specific. You're going to travel all that way. You're going to come out of heaven and you're going to come down here and hang out with Elizabeth Lane. I would like to think that the ghost of Charlie would give us some more specifics than that. Like, give me an actual clue.
I have to agree with Gary Melton. Oh Lord, I'm gonna have to mark this for infamy. A moment that I agree with Gary Melton. Yeah, I have to agree with Gary Melton. If Charlie's going to come down and give me some information, it's going to be a little bit more specific than that. And yeah, it's the same. This gets into the whole MK Ultra. It's just starting. Oh no, we stopped that shit in the 70s. Congress even said so. Yeah. I forget if it was Congress or whatever, but oh no, we don't do that anymore. Let's see. What's been the budget for y'all since the 1950s, the growing budget? Oh, I'm not talking just about the official budget. I'm talking about that, the dark money, the money that you guys have been making off of your hand in the illegal drug trade. Yeah, we know about that. Guess what? We know about that. We've known about that one for a long, long, long time. That came out in the Ollie North trials. Oh, yeah, you know who the lawyer was with that? That was Brendan Sullivan. Yeah, he was one of the first lawyers I contacted when I got to D.C. in 2009. Yeah, he ignored me as well. Oh, and you know where his name shows up is in the book of Carol Joint, The Innocent Spouse. Yeah, I have to say I'm really pissed off at her, and I want to see her because she was like, after she published her book, when I talked to her, she was like, oh, no, I got to make some money. I'm going to get back in the journalism business. Oh, well, then you'll cover this. Oh, no, I got to make money. I'm not going to expose anything that unpleasantness. But the issue with the whole innocent spouse and where she's going to let it lie, but I'm not, was how she, if she didn't have access to all of the financial records of her husband, the IRS cannot hold her responsible for any shenanigans. And excuse me, the accountants who are signing off on all of that stuff and the lawyers involved in that, they're the ones who should be held to account, not this person who's claiming the innocent spouse argument. Now, this also gets into my case, access to financial records. I was told the only way to get hold of my financial records, common property, under Spanish law, was to get a divorce. I said, that's ridiculous. And in fact, when I read the civil code in Spain, under which marriage is supposedly regulated, clearly stated that I have every right to access and the right, and he has the obligation to consult me about the family finances. So yeah, they have wanted even the protective mothers, but the feminists, everybody has wanted to shut me up on the property rights issues, as much as the custodial rights issues of women in the divorce, because they know I got their number. And any way they argue this, I'm going to take them down. And take them down real fast and real hard. Because first we've got, okay, you're producing a slave. If women have no rights within the home and family, no property rights, you tell her fuck you when she reclaims common property, she's a slave. And if you want to justify your actions by saying, well, he's the one, the check, the salary, the check that he receives every month or however he's paid is in his name, so it's his money. I'm like, no, that comes under common property law. Now, Ariana Huffington, you want to talk about that, of women getting money for which they're not, legally entitled. in a divorce. We got Ariana Huffington, Nicole Shanahan. We got lots and lots of examples of that. But those are the exceptions. That's done because the greedy lawyers out there. Oh, Lord. One of the lawyers I met with, bitch. Oh, to ask any woman, the worst are in the family courts of the women, judges and lawyers. I mean, when she thought that my ex-husband was like of the Gonzalez family of BBVA and had money, oh, I promise you, if it had been a cartoon, she would have had euros coming out of her head. So yeah, if there's lots and lots of money to be made, then the lawyers will go to bat for these gold-digging homemakers and trophy wives. And that's precisely why they're getting, you know, the trad wife has gotten a bad name. Because either you're a gold-digging whore like that, or you're, I mean, see, the thing is with the lower classes and the middle class, normally there are no assets. Now, that's a real problem with the middle class. That there are no common, you know, there should be common property assets there. All too often, there's too much debt. We should be promoting even assets between the lower classes and prevention of 50% divorce rate. See, everybody, oh my Lord, from marriage industries, you know, the event planning and the jet setting and all of that shit. It's all money making in the hopes that you will get a divorce. Because then the family law lawyers make lots of money. So anyway, if they want to go down the road of the argument that this is the husband's salary, it's his money, I'm like, okay, fine. I'll play it that way. So how much does a surrogate mother make per child when she produces it? Let's say 10,000, 20,000, 20,000 per pop. Okay, 40,000 right there for 2 children. How many years did she clean house, cook, event plan, psychiatrist, human resource, care, you know, nurse, teacher, tutor, how many times did she sleep with her husband? How much do prostitutes get these days? Okay, well, look. Boom, 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 buddies, boys. Y'all want to rethink this strategy here. Because you owe her a lot more than what you were making. You're left in a much worse situation if you would just play nice and say everybody contributed here. We're not going to fight. This is not about, you know, owning our children, or, you know, this is about trying to get along. And if there are some issues, or, you know, you just, even within the, you know, when all of this was under, marriage was under the church, whether it be the Muslim or, you know, whatever, the Christians or the Jews, there was some sort of you know, recognition that, okay, we got to let these people out of this marriage, because otherwise it's not good for them or the children, and they're going to tear each other's eyes out. Now, well, I just changed my mind. Yeah, no, it doesn't work like that. And this no-fault divorce stuff has not been a good thing. So there's lots and lots of shit. So anyway, I've gone off on a tangent. So we'll get back to Elizabeth Lane.
Here. These people are delusional, and they want you to take them seriously. The way this woman talks, the way that she conducts herself, the way that she flaunts her body and uses that as a sales pitch for just about everything she does. And man, we could just go through the different pictures that you can find with her. It is like, Elizabeth, have a little respect.
But that's what women do these days.
For yourself. This is not the way for anybody to take you seriously. This may work for one-night stands, but this is not.
I keep on telling Marianne Seigart, UK celebrity journalist who went to Cobham Hall, my alma mater in England, and author of The Authority Gap, Why Women Are Not Taken Seriously and What We Can Do About It. I'm like, Marianne, behave more seriously and women will be taken more seriously. But if you act like a whore, you act like and you are a con artist, and an agent for a foreign state or for some greedy corporation, yeah, people are eventually going to see through it. And call a spade a spade.
Not if you have a husband and you want a long-term relationship with somebody, this is not how you do it. And by the way, this is not how anyone in the actual field of journalism is going to take you seriously as a colleague either. And by the way, I don't want to get my information from this person. So, you can come at me with whatever. What I can sit here and say is that I can look at myself every single day in the mirror. And I know that in spite of the attacks on me, in spite of everything that's been thrown against me, people trying to smear me, trying to create complete false narratives, which both Candace, Barron, especially have done, there's many others out there. I don't care because I'm telling the truth. What you can't do is you can't give me a material argument against anything that I say. And the very few times, even though I know it ends up providing a vulnerability, but it's just the right thing to do, the very few times that I have gotten something wrong, I've come out and corrected the record as soon as I realized it. Time and time again. That's something that Candace never does. That's something Barron Coleman.
I tell you, I have been entertained. I have been often entertained, particularly Christmas is always a very difficult time for me. And Candace Owens dropped the bombshell of Fort Huachuca, and that's when Gary Melton started going ballistic on this shit. And it did. I was like, oh my God, at least I'm not thinking about my sons and how much I miss them. So at least it's, keeping my mind off the holidays. So I thank him for that. But I was just like, I have laughed and laughed and laughed at Gary Melton so many times. It's not even funny.
Coleman never does. I don't really know enough or care about enough about your work to even know whether or not you do that, Elizabeth. I really don't. It doesn't matter.
I'm sure that's like the same attitude like with me. I get that all of the time. Oh, you're just a stupid nobody. Look, how many subscribers do you have? How many likes do you have? How much money do you make? I'm like, none. You really don't understand the power structure. None of that is worth anything. And even the money, these billions of dollars, trillionaire, I think maybe, is Elon Musk now a trillionaire? I think we have a trillionaire now. All of that can disappear like that. So fast, it would make your head spin. As fast as these nouveau riche billionaires, because almost all of it is nouveau riche. And this is the thing, the old guard, Tim Mellon, the top of the heap, I do believe. The Koch brothers are out there. There's, dark money identifies the Koch brothers. I know Tim Mellon from Foxcroft. His stepmother and sister went to Foxcroft. His stepmother, Bunny Mellon, and Tim Mellon, were, high society of Washington. And I'm pretty sure they've got their hand. Smithsonian? Yeah, I want to know what the Smithsonian, I want to know what's in downstairs in the Vatican, and I also want to know what's downstairs in the Smithsonian. Very interesting. Very, very interesting. We have the right. We are the people. Yes. See, the thing is what real power is. What real power is when you got the goods on everybody in power. You know where their skeletons are hidden. take any one of these down. Any one of these people. My favorite is with, well, I have various favorites, but with the Mars sisters, Mars Candy Bar, that they're Foxcroft. Oh, and the Walmart family, the Walton Foundation. Oh yeah, they really screwed up. So yeah, see, I haven't been looking for money. I haven't been looking for likes. I've been hard at work. Oh, I mean, Gary, I'm not going to pay any attention to you. I'm like, oh no, you pop your little head up, and believe me, you're getting a deep dive, and up the ass, and up your family's ass. Oh, go on to Ancestry.com and look at all the different family trees that I'm looking at. Oh, and I could really use some help. I mean, I'm just getting started there, and there's so much work to do there. We get somebody in the White House who knows what the fuck they're doing. Right now, I think, Bobby, I think is still, I there's some criticism of him with Trump, but I mean, I really do believe Bobby, God has Bobby in HHS right now for a reason. I think this is where, I mean, God's at the lead here. I'm just following. My mom would say when I was little, she would say, you would argue with God. I'm like, yeah, if he was wrong, I would. However, oh God. Yeah. I'm like, okay, this can not all be for nothing. Thousands of years. You have a plan, right? Just, can we move on with it, please? I'm getting a little tired here and I want to go home to my sons. So if we could speed it up and put it in drive, I would certainly appreciate it. But I am here at the service, and I think he does have the plan, and he's got his he's at the helm of the ship somehow. We think the devil's there, but I think he's winning somehow. I don't know. I just keep on telling myself that. Put my faith in God, and that'll get us through. And then when we get ready to go for the attack, boom, we're here. But let's get there. Let's get there. I'm sitting tired of waiting around, waiting for the day of reckoning to come.
Matter to me. What I can tell you is that I know for a fact you're just pushing complete propaganda. And if you're going to come to this country and then you're going to sit here and you're going to undermine our country, our institutions, and everything that this country was founded on and makes it great, you better believe myself and others are going to hold you accountable.
I'm all for it. I agree with him. If you're going to come here to this country and undermine our Constitution, the Puritan worth ethic that made this country great. When I moved abroad in the 70s, I mean, no contention. Americans were top in customer service, and the only ones who equaled us in efficiency were the Germans. And what made America great was our combination of the customer service of the South of the United States and Southern Europe. See, the problem is Southern Europe, and this comes from wars and generations of wars being fought on their soil, and families going through that. Oh God, the European psychopath, Southern and Northern, it's a different flavor, but they're bullies and SOBs and all of that. But the good, like más bueno del pan, the Southern hospitality of the South, the Southern hospitality of Southern Europe, mixed. That's what we Americans used to be, mixed with the efficiency of the North. That was our good days. That's what we shined in. as an example for the rest of the world. That's what people looked up to. That's why America was great. People wanted to follow the American way. But see, the State Department, Federation of American Women's Clubs overseas, international schools, American corporations, including the global law firms, that's all part of the corporate structure. They have all sought to undermine and destroy that in the United States as much as Europe. So I agree with them. I'm a French immigrant, and I mean this you can find. I mean, this would come out if anybody looked at it. Yeah, I didn't have my papers when I went to France, and it was an au pair. I had to get out of the United States. I was in the financial markets. This was after being up on Capitol Hill. This was from 85 to 88, and I was there for the 87 collapse. I mean, I was just the cocaine snorting, everybody sleeping around. All of my most of them were gay men. They called me a born again virgin. So born again Christian, born again virgin. I was like, I don't want to have anything to do with the men in this town. Not the frat boys my age. I wanted a family. I wanted children. The one time they even said, "Oh, we were talking about hiring a gigolo for you for your birthday." I said, "Well, thanks for thinking of me. If I really want to get laid, that's not the problem. If that's what I'm looking for, I can do that. But that's not what I'm looking for." So thanks for thinking of me. I appreciate it, but that's okay. Would be a waste of your money and the waste of the guy's time. So anyway, let's get back to it. So I agree with Gary. You screw around in my soil, whether it be American soil or European. I got standing. My kids are Spanish, and as my father said, with the English, our family, the Wilcoxes, have been challenging the British crown since Elizabeth I. And Thomas Wilcox's admonition to Parliament, 1750. No, oh Lord. Yeah. My blood pressure is going down. I was even thinking I got to go and get a hamburger. I think I'm low in iron because I've really been craving hamburgers. So anyway, 1571, admonitions to Parliament, aka Puritan Manifesto, and Thomas Wilcox, 1666, a choice drop of honey from the rock Christ. That's 1666 was the Great Fire of London. And there's some stuff about it from him. So anyway, those guys are on the family tree. I still have a lot to go with those two. Because direct lineage too, but then we have a whole slew of Wilcoxes. There you do have the direct lineage of the Massachusetts Bay Colony, Massachusetts Bay, Rhode Island, and Delaware. One of the Wilcoxes that I'm interested in is from Rhode Island, and he's very well known in Hawaii. He married a princess. I forget his first name. It was Captain, the son of some Captain Wilcox. So anyway, there's all over the frickin' map since the 1600s, the Puritan movement into the United States. That gives me standing and cause, all sorts, all over the place. And with my mother, you want to get into the Catholic stuff? I even remember when I was an adult and I said, well, that's ridiculous. Catholics being persecuted? And my mother, she got real upset. And then I started looking into it. I was like, oh, yeah, okay, I see what's going on. But I understand why they get persecuted. As my dad said, unfortunately, he was a victim of Stockholm Syndrome with my mother. He said, our family, the Wilcoxes, not the Scallons or the Broussards, have been fighting and the Dickinsons and the Pauls. Ron Paul and Rand Paul, that's the Paul family. John Paul Jones. We've been fighting this oppression and dictatorships of the military-industrial complex of the British imperialist, like Gary Milton. And I even say we go back farther than Queen Elizabeth I. This goes back to the Magna Carta, and I'm particularly interested, it's a Samuel Dickinson. This is 10,060, I forget, 10,066, 67, 68, somewhere around that. So yeah, it really goes back to that, and that's because when I got into family courts and family law, I'm like, what are you people talking about? This comes under contract law. And that's okay. Well, let's go back to the origins, which goes into civic juris. Oh, this is the under the Roman Empire. I forget which year. This is at the very beginning. I think in the 7th century or something like that. I forget exactly. But that's the origin of our legal code. So, I mean, I am my father's daughter. That's why my mother despised me as much as she hated my father.
And we're going to point it out. And you can sit there and you can gnash your teeth, you can throw a fit, you can do whatever you want to do. You're not getting on my program other than this. And I'm going to continue to research you. So if you want to come down to my comments, you want to attack me, have at it. Have fun. Better have tried. All right, including Candace Owens and a lot of other people out there. Nobody ever heard of Elizabeth Lane until she attacked Erica in an article AI generated for her. Imagine needing to harass a widow for attention. Hey, Elizabeth Lane, earn your way to the debate. You started it. We finished. I want more evidence of your recording and your dream. Yeah, give us some evidence of that. Elizabeth Lane, I pray for your salvation, deliverance, and healing.
I want evidence of what you dreamt. How the world would anybody even begin to produce evidence of what they dreamt? Perhaps in some Orwellian future where we're all under mind control or something like that. But I was like, you gotta be kidding me. Okay, Elizabeth Lane, I pray for your salvation, deliverance, and healing. Amen, amen. I mean, like, that's a type of religious bullshit that just drives me crazy.
Amen and amen. And I do too. Elizabeth, I don't hate you. No, I don't. I don't even really feel any animus for you. I feel sad. I think you're kind of funny to watch. I'll be honest with you. Last night when you started...
He spills the beans here. He spills the beans.
Attacking me, I thought it was hilarious. At one point, you did come after something about I sold out my country. That irritated me a little bit. I'll let you know that. That was the only time that you got me angry and had an angry sound.
Oh, that really pissed him off. Ooh, you touched a chord. Why? Because he knows deep down his loyalty is to the military-industrial complex and not the U.S. Constitution. That's why that made him so angry.
So you can keep throwing out whatever. You can keep showing the world what a disgusting human being that you are and that you don't know how to communicate with people effectively. It's fine. But I'm going to be right here, and nothing that you do, nothing that you say about me, none of it changes. What I will be doing today, tomorrow, the next day, I can look God in the eye, I can look my family in the eye, and I know that in spite of this not being popular or profitable, I'm happy to do it because it's the right thing to do.
Oh, please. I can't wait to get everybody in court, and I want financials. I want to see how much everybody has made off of the whole Charlie Kirk assassination. Disgusting. See, the thing is, if the government has an obligation to protect under international law. If the government was doing its job under international law and under their constitutions, then we wouldn't need investigative reporters like this. We wouldn't need citizen investigators. all of this time, money, and energy could be spent towards producing. We need to work on our infrastructure in this country. We need education, housing, clean water. I mean, I want to put, our roads, I'm sure, need to be fixed. That gets into your different state, local, whatever. But why is it the United States? I mean, it's ludicrous that we don't have one of these TGV, the rapid transit. I mean, hell, in China they got these. My sister was there, and she said you couldn't believe that. You couldn't feel the thing moving at all, and it's going at top speed of, I don't know, hundreds of miles an hour. Amazing. And quite frankly, we've got to get less airplanes up in the air. I mean, I assume, in our railroad systems, we need to just change completely the allocation of resources. More focus into rural areas, more focus into manufacturing, but not like the manufacturing 1940s black and white films that you see of the communist. I'm not talking to that type of manufacturing, but for example, artisans make furniture, make things that last. I'm sick and tired of that, all sorts of cables, all sorts of the frickin' place. I mean, if I was in a third world country, I would be able to bring all of this to an electrician. Can you fix this? Can you fix that? Oh yeah. Here we just throw it away and buy a new one. I mean, everybody laughed at me at my love for my 1989 Volkswagen Golf that my ex-husband eventually destroyed. I think he thought that I was going to get a voice, so he had somebody crash into it, and then told my son that it was some drunk like your mom who ran into it and destroyed it. No, I'm sure he did that to spite me. Make cars like that. When I was I was a business major at GW, and this is like personnel management or something like that. I forget. But the guy, he had been from the automobile industry, and he said one of the reasons why American cars, we dropped the ball. We became uncompetitive compared to the Germans and the Japanese and then other Asians, was because, but particularly the Germans, because the Asians, theirs was cheap, but it's going to break down. The Europeans, the Germans, were about quality, not the French, the Peugeot, no, but the Germans, your Volkswagen particularly. I mean, I remember I was like, yeah, a Mercedes or a Volkswagen. I mean, the Mercedes is worth the money because you're getting a good car. Now the Mercedes are shit. And the Volkswagen, the Golf, I got the early models, and those were, I mean, those, nothing below that. Everybody laughed at me. I was like, are you kidding? This is better than any Ferrari or y'all got. Make quality that lasts. Stop being a disposable country. Everybody's a commodity. Just cancel them when you no longer need them. Throw away. I mean, I'm horrified working in the restaurant business. How much is wasted? How much plastic we consume? I mean, everywhere I turn, I'm just like, this we need to get rid of. This we need to get rid of. This we need to get rid of. This we need. This we need. This we need. Marketing 101. The teacher, he said, what is marketing? Lots of hands rose. No, no, no. Marketing is identifying your market and fulfilling the needs of that market. It is not producing a bunch of shit that nobody wants or needs or is addictive, and then trying to convince them to buy it, or giving away freebies and get them hooked up, and then they're like addicts. Oh my God, Steve Jobs, look at the damage you did with your freaking smartphones. If you take all of the inheritance, I think he just had the one daughter, I'm not sure, but all of the inheritance from that, it still wouldn't pay for the damages that the smartphone has done, not only to the Americans, but every society in the world. And freaking, it's like, I mean, my favorite is the zombie movie where it's coming through the phone. One of the, oh gosh, what's his name? I really like it. Like him and his sister. His sister is also another actress. Oh, I'm really bad with actors' names, particularly. I'm better with economists or politicians. But anyway, it's a good movie. It's through the phones, and you become these like vampire zombies, whatever, I'm killing people. It is a good movie. I mean, some of those movies, those monster movies can be rather cheesy, but this one's really good. Anyway, let's go back to Gary. And then we're almost finished, and then I'll get into Anna.
What do you expect from a washed-up honeypot? Couldn't snag Rich John, so has to resort to slurping Candy's coattails and attention.
Yeah.
Gary will never date you, Liz. His wife is hot. My wife is hot. She's amazing.
She's not only hot, she's one of the sweetest people on the planet.
And one of the smartest people on the planet.
Yep.
Nice lives into
Okay. Hot, sweet, and smart. I highly doubt it. I cannot wait to meet Gary Melton's wife and find out who she is and all sorts of stuff. Oh, Lord, that's going to be interesting. Okay, so I'm going to leave it there with Gary because oh gosh, we're already 3 hours into this. Over 3 hours. So now Anna Kasparian. Anna Kasparian, she's not stupid, but she is not as intelligent she believes she is, or God's gift to the world like she believes she is. But that's par for the course. All of these entertainment journalists, it's that's one of their problems, and that's why they don't listen to me. I'm a nobody. They don't want to share the limelight with an old lady who knows more about their subjects than they do. And if it was exposed and I was brought in, they might get replaced by the old ladies out there who know a thing or two. So let's listen in on Anna Kasparian.
Throw out allegations. It's another thing to provide the receipts. So let's begin. Back in April of 2023, which of course was months before October 7th, the Jerusalem Post published an article. You're looking at it right now on the screen. It's titled, "Making Israel-U.S. Jewry Relations Cool Again." All right. Well, in the body of that article, Emily Austin is...
After the damage that Charlie Kirk and his assassination has created, and the Daily Wire and people like what's the midget on the midget horse, Ben Shapiro and all of the others. Israel needs some damage control. So bring in the new psyop.
is described as a social media influencer, Hasbara activist. I'm not kidding. This is a screenshot from the actual article. Hasbara activist. Okay, great. But Austin is so much more than a mere propagandist for Israel on social media. In fact, there is evidence that she has worked for the Israeli government directly. Let's show the receipts on that. So Israeli outlet I-24 News reported in January 2023 that Austin had joined Israel's UN mission. Very impressive. Now, the best part about the article is what Austin actually thinks about the United Nations.
See how foreign agents are getting their foot in the door in the United States through positions with the UN. I've been whistleblowing on this for over a decade. IMF and World Bank in D.C. Now, I got the goods as well on UN Women, and that gets into my work on family courts, international trafficking of children. The UN Women, they're in bed with the human rights industry, the domestic violence, and the feminists, which go under the guise of women's rights. But they're all in bed, and the agenda is empower the PDFs and seek supremacy for women, to control and dominate and castrate and exploit men and all of the other women. And, any woman who disagrees with them, yeah, you get exploited as well. You kiss their ass, then you're welcome in their club.
Nations. She calls it an organization she considers to be anti-Semitic, but is very important to her. If it's anti-Semitic, why is it important to you? Anyway, other reporting is a little more in-depth about her role in Israel's UN mission. So why don't we take a look at that? According to a January 2023 article.
And the thing is that it's anti-Semitic, but important to me. It means that it's one that's important to you, so you want to get rid of the anti-Semitism. However, anti-Semitism, they are using that as a talking point that anybody who criticizes Israel is anti-Semitic. Anti-Semitic is against the religion. Anti-Semitic is against the entire Jewish population. You're calling for their extermination because their gene pool is not good, or their religious doctrines are contrary to the Christian doctrines, or their usury laws or their usury traditions are contrary to Christian laws and traditions. So that, and quite frankly, that's not even anti-Semitism, that's anti-exploitation. Because I don't just target the Jews on that. I target, any of the Christians or the Muslims. Muslims, they're not really prevalent on Wall Street. That's mainly your Anglican Christians or your Jews. They pretty much have cornered the market there. Now, when you get into the Muslims, the Hindus, Indians, that's definitely cornered market on the techie liberals and stuff. And that, again, as Gary Milton pointed out, you're creating problems here. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Ooh. The craziness that's gone on in Silicon Valley and California, and the boom and bust economies that techie liberals have created. Yeah, there are a lot of Indians that need to be held to account. And they shouldn't be given a free pass just because they're Indian. And we're only going to go after the white Americans. That's crazy. Absolutely crazy. This is brought up, I think, maybe by Anna Kasparian. Like, you got to start applying the same standards for everybody out there instead of picking and choosing. Oh, these are my friends. This is the Republican Party, and I'm part of the Republican Party, so we don't go out, or this political agenda, utilizing the courts for party politicking, to extort people, to defame people, to disrupt their lives. That's illegal. Under so many laws, it's not even funny.
From the Jewish news syndicate, JNS, titled Sports Journalist Emily Austin Brings Her A Game in Defense of Israel, writer Bradley Martin notes the following. Austin would begin to serve as a media consultant to permanent representative of Israel to the United Nations, Gilad Erdan. Okay, so who the hell is Gilad Erdan?
Yeah.
Well, he's an Israeli politician and a lifelong member of the Likud party. The same political party who notorious war criminal Benjamin Netanyahu belongs to. Yeah, that's the party. Well, Erdogan served as permanent representative of Israel to the United Nations between 2020 and 2024, with Emily Austin under his employ as his media consultant for at least part of his time in that role. Recently, the Times of Israel published a piece noting his current political aspirations. He told the publication that the goal is to establish a new right-wing party. I want to lead and head such a framework, and I am examining whether there is political feasibility for it. In the post-Netanyahu era, I see myself as a candidate for prime minister. I know what Israel needs. If I felt comfortable with what is happening in the Likud, I would return to political activity within the party. So I give you that information because it's important to understand she was working for an Israeli politician representing the Israeli UN mission. She was their media consultant. Emily Austin worked for that guy. So one should wonder how an allegedly 25-year-old woman who was raised in Brooklyn has so many close and cozy ties with members of the Israeli government. For example, Ynet Global's Daniel Edelson wrote in Ynet Global that amongst all the who's who's of the New York City's Jewish community who attended the World Jewish Congress held at the MoMA, the one who caught my attention was a young blonde woman who seemed to be on first name basis with all the VIPs. As a typical Israeli, I was curious to know who this woman was and how has she attained this status? Did she come from money? Perhaps she was a byproduct of Hollywood fame? No. He ultimately claimed that an acquaintance of his told him that Austin is self-made and somehow managed to have everyone in the city wrapped around her finger. Yeah, right. Somehow she's one of the top pro-Israel voices who keeps getting...
Yeah, it sounds a little bit like Jeffrey Epstein. Power. And the thing is, for example, Ghislaine Maxwell is in prison. Her sister was at the World Economic Forum. And, her father, Robert Maxwell, was, an Israeli-Russian agent, and did the same thing with the communications, mass communications in England that was done in the United States, I believe starting with Bill Paley, who is the husband of Babe Palin. She was a Capote Swan. Oh, I forget. She had like 4 or 5 husbands. And that's one of the ways that a Jew was accepted in high society in New York at the head of CBS. And we see with Weinstein, Hollywood, they're in bed. It's the publication, Hollywood, newspapers, magazines, all of that, mass communications, TV. There's a reason why that is under the there is a responsibility for some sort of government oversight there. You have to have licenses. You have to, be some sort of established government entity, company. For example, if you're a foreigner here, a lot of them are having to register finally as foreign agents, because they are. That's what they've been doing. It's gone under the radar. There's still Epstein files. I'm like, excuse me, people. Bitching and screaming about the Epstein files. I've been handing you these people's name on a silver platter with lawsuits built against them for decades, and you tell me to shut up, stupid. Shut up, stupid.
Getting invited onto major media outlets like CNN or Piers Morgan, even though she's a bit of a moron. Watch.
The West Bank has a port. They can import and export. Israel gave them a great piece of land. They received billions of dollars in aid, not only from the U.S., but Israel gave, are you mad? They had a chance to rebuild, but they spent the last 15 plus years crying that they don't have enough land, because there is never enough land for them instead of rebuilding.
Was she serious? I mean, the West Bank does not have a port. And despite its name, the Dead Sea is not an actual sea where trade with ships transiting to and fro takes place. But anyway, aside from media invites to discuss topics she knows nothing about, somehow she is always present at all these Israel-aligned events featuring a ton of politicians and political operatives. In fact, here she is with Ophir Akunis, who happens to be Israel's consul in New York on November 15th, 2024.
When I'm here with Emily Austin, I just want to say thank you. Thank you for your support. You are very brave. You are with Israel, for Israel, and you are struggling for the most important thing. You know what it is? The truth.
Wow. Well, it's easy when
We're struggling for the truth. I love it. They all come out with so politically correct talking points. It's all in the PSYOP.
people like you in New York helping me represent my voice and amplifying my voice. So thank you for your work.
Thank you so much.
Shall I vomit now or later?
Amplifying her voice. Okay, great. So here she is with Reza Pahlavi, the exiled son of the Iranian Shah, who Israel wanted to install as their puppet monarch in their regime change adventures in Tehran. Austin also attended Benjamin Netanyahu's influencer strategy session back in 2025, where he was heard saying,
Hey, I'm trying to kick butt with the monarchs. And I mean, this includes the monarchs in the Mideast. They have to be involved in ending all of this. And, just like with the monarchs in Europe, I'm sure that, there's good and bad. And this is where you got to build the coalitions amongst the few remaining and say, look, the industrialists took over, look what they've created. And if you don't grow a pair and, become the kings of Camelot. And it goes back to Robin Hood, Are you going to be Lady Marian, who is helping Robin Hood? Are you going to be Lady Marian, who sells her body and gets in bed with the sheriff? Was that the sheriff of... I forget what the sheriff's name was. But you get my point. And see, this gets back, Camelot, JFK and Jackie Onassis, Andrew Cuomo and Kerry Kennedy pulled that Camelot. But these were all false kings and queens. So, but you have to stop being puppet kings and queens like Wallace Simpson, like the Prince of Greece in New York. Crown Prince. I don't know what he's called now. I guess he's just still the Crown King. I guess his father's still around. I forget. Anyway, you get the picture.
This.
talked about the woke right. And he said, I call it the woke right. That's a brilliant alliteration. The woke right, because these people, they're not any different from the woke left. I mean, they're insane. They're the base of our support in the United States. That is being challenged systematically. A lot of this is done with money. Money of NGOs, vast. Money of governments, vaster.
Oh, yeah.
Okay? We have to fight back. How do we fight back? Our influencers. But we have to fight with the weapons that apply.
See, he's admitting it.
To the battlefields in which we're engaged. And the most important ones are social media. And the most important purchase that is going on right now is class.
Followers.
TikTok. TikTok. Number one. And I hope it goes through because it can be consequential. And the other one, what's the other one? That's most important. X. X. That's very good.
Okay, did you catch that?
Yeah.
Because it was quick, but the Prime Minister of Israel referenced the influencers in the room, including Emily Austin, as our influencers, meaning Israel's influencers. This is why so many people believe, myself included, that Austin might be paid by the Israeli government to carry out Hasbara here in the United States. Can you really blame anyone for being suspicious about that? In fact, here's an example of...
Just like we've got the Elizabeth Lane, who's working for the Russians. I mean, you got your honeypots all over the freaking place, the nonprofits, beauty queens, Debs, actresses, social media influencers. I mean, come on. Get no more whores and no more wars.
Of a post that you'll commonly see about Emily Austin on social media. This one's on X, which features a photo of the Israeli politicians, Benjamin Netanyahu, and the influencers who attended this meeting, including Emily Austin. So the person who posted this claims that Israel is paying influencers like Emily Austin and Laura Loomer $7,000 per post. It wasn't a joke. Israel quietly paid.
They all say $7,000 per post. I wonder where this number is coming from. Is this like something made up, or is there, because everybody uses that one. Oh, I hope you enjoy your $7,000 check. I'm like, is that what they're getting? My God. See, wasted resources.
Influencers on the American right $900,000 to peddle pro-Israel talking points in 2025 and plans to increase spending to $250,000 a month or $3 million annually. Now, look, the person who posted that is referencing a September 2025 FARA filing by Bridges Partners LLC, which operates under Israel's Ministry of Foreign Affairs via Havas Media, Germany. Now, the filing made light of Israel's Esther project, which ran from June through November of 2025 and activated a total of 14 to 18 pro-Israel influencers who were allegedly paid $7,000 for each pro-Israel post they made on social media. Now, here's what's important. The filing never listed specific names of the influencers who were paid as part of this foreign propaganda campaign, but many, including the person who posted that allegation, suspected that Emily Austin was one of them, which is why I asked her about it on her take back when I was a host on that show. After that meeting, a lot of different news stories came out, including one from Responsible Statecraft, arguing that Israel is paying influencers $7,000 per post. Now, the way that that's being carried out is, in my opinion, meant to kind of make it difficult to figure out where the money's coming from. Conceal the money.
So Ashley Sinclair has outed, whistleblown as well. MAGA is doing this as well. She'd be approached, will you promote this or not, or something other? And she'd be like, no. And then she'd turn around and see all of these different social media people posting that. And they're getting paid. So everybody's doing it. This is, it's got to stop because it's being used as propaganda. This is not information. This is not news. And this comes under, the government's obligation to provide proper oversight on its media and methods of communication to the public.
money. Now that story has led to all sorts of influencers being accused of taking $7,000 per post. I know I've seen that happen a lot with you, Emily, and you were also at that meeting with influencers. So what's the reality of the situation?
So I'll speak on behalf of myself and honestly on behalf of the government a little bit here, the Israeli government. There are a lot of Jewish advocates who are making bank off of this war. And it's not from the government because honestly, they can't afford what we charge for public speaking. They target influencers who agree with the cause and then recruit us for meetings like what you saw with Bibi for messaging on the same, I guess, wavelength because everyone's kind of putting all these statements.
It's amazing. Every Tom, Dick, and Harry, you go on any of these people who like, you've almost never heard of. Speaking engagements, you can't, these people put themselves right away in an ivory tower and contact us for speaking engagements and the rest of you fuck off. I mean, Washington, it boggles the mind. I wish we had a map, a ping map of all of the different, parties and conferences and panel discussions that are going on per day in Washington. Waste of money and resources and nothing but propaganda and propaganda platforms through which all of these different cabals and factions can advance their agendas while the country goes to shit.
Out there and Bibi was like, why don't we unify our messaging? Now, I think what it turned into was, they don't even believe in the cause. They're getting paid $7,000 per post, which if I was getting $7,000 a post, with all due respect, I wouldn't be sitting here right now. I'd be on vacation once a week because the amount of posts I've done about Israel for free, I'd be a multi-millionaire if that were true, and many others too.
Okay, so she kind of denied it, but she also
denied that she was getting that much money.
got caught in a lie and then immediately pivoted to defending the idea of getting paid by Israel to carry out propaganda. And by the way, don't think I missed the fact that she said, let me speak on behalf of Israel. I know, you do that all the time. Anyway, here's what happened next.
I can safely say the government's not funding any influencer. The Esther Project, never heard of it. Whatever you just said, Chava Media, never heard of it. Maybe other people are taking that money. I'm very jealous if they are. Let me know why you're getting paid and I'm not. But this is not something unique to Israel. Imagine women for Trump. We already all like Trump. Now the government's like, hey guys, we're going to pay you to say something you already believe in. I would sign up for that immediately.
With all due respect, I don't think it's completely accurate to say that influencers aren't getting paid because let me tell you.
By the government?
Wait, I was.
This is why with the Queen Elizabeth, one of the things she said to Meghan Markle and, the British royals and any of the royals, aristocracy, don't merch. Because, you do set a role model how you dress, how you act. I mean, one of the things I'm horrified with is the fashion industry. Let's start with Ralph Lauren, but, some class. I mean, I'm like, can we bring back Chanel 1940s, 1950s? Well, that would be more for 1950s because it's post-World War II. But, the classics, look at, Jean, not Jean Kelly, Grace Kelly. Or Audrey Hepburn, how they dressed. Jackie O, I mean, that was one thing you could give for Jackie O. She did, bring style and a bit of class, a bit. More than Melania. I mean, one thing I have to give Melania is she's one of the best dressed women we've had in the White House since Jackie O. So, in that regard, but you can dress them up, but you can't take them out.
They offer that money to me, and I sent you the exact email, let me pull it up. The Consulate General.
This little Tokyo Rose drives me crazy.
Israel, okay? wrote me an email offering to pay me to go to Israel. They would pay all my expenses and also pay me. And then I had, they offered to give me a spot for my guest. I shot that down. I declined because it didn't sit right with.
See how they're contacting them and offering them openly. Can you imagine? This is just one amongst many. And that's just the Israelis, the Russians, everybody. I wouldn't put it past any government, any corporation. Yeah, contact that one. Tell them to sell this.
Me. This is about
merch.
Year ago. Okay. So I don't think Anna was saying that they were targeting Jewish influencers. The issue is that they were targeting influencers. They are targeting influencers.
Well, yeah, I just
because
said
it
they do
happens
these
to
trips
me.
to Israel. They pay for the cost in their hotels.
You're saying that the point that she's making is correct. They are targeting influencers.
Candace Owens is going to Russia. I have to say, I'm kind of curious about that one. Particularly after Elizabeth Lane. Yeah. There's some eye-raising stuff going on there.
Convey a pro-Israel message around the country because they understand.
Did they ask you to put out any messaging, or they offered you a trip?
Absolutely.
Excuse me, eye-opening or eyebrow-raising is what I criticized Carrie for that earlier, but yeah, okay.
So look, as you can imagine, that exchange didn't help quell speculation that Austin is a paid propagandist for Israel. Look, if she's being dishonest by saying that Israel is spending no money on influencers, as you just heard her say in that clip, how do we know she isn't being dishonest about her own situation? We don't know. And I personally have a hard time believing her. But honestly, like, who could blame me? I mean, did she really do the video that you're about to see next for free?
Imagine supporting people who start wars just to lose the wars so they can cry about it and then try it all again.
You musty anti-Semites are literally obsessed with Jews. Now walk with me. While you musty anti-Semites are stacking eviction notices, Jews are out here stacking up businesses.
Jews control all the industries. Maybe if you spent more time taking notes from successful people, you wouldn't have to spend your nights and weekends spreading hate from your anonymous account with an anime profile picture.
Okay. So, as I keep on pointing it out with white trash, as Nancy Eisenberg said, Americans, they have come to interpret, the race war is not about race, it's about class, social mobility. And unfortunately, Americans have interpreted class to mean the accumulation of wealth and privilege. That's not class, and that's not what the founding fathers were fighting for. It was not accumulation of wealth and privilege. It was, that you could advance through hard, industrious work and your entrepreneurial ideas rather than through some favoritism network. And for that, if you really want, you need a capitalist system, but you need a free trade capitalist system where access to investment money is not determined by which tribe you're with, but rather the quality of the business that you're trying to get started. And that's where we got a problem with the capital ventures, the hedge funds, the entire financial system and banking system, which have been controlled by the Jews for a long time. This whole thing of, this guy's rich, so he's successful. No. This is where I got a problem with these guys. Their love of money and fame and greed is not what makes America great. Never has been, never will. America or any place else.
You work as hard as Jews? Do you network like Jews? No, because you're too busy cheering on a group of musty terrorists who smell like dirty earring backs. And if we're going to keep it real...
No, I network like Jews. Yeah. But unfortunately, I've just been collecting names of people I want to see in court rather than people that can be trusted to work with. Because they all got either their personal agendas, they all belong to some sort of cult, or just power-hungry psychopaths who enjoy the misery of others.
You're really mad because your income is giving side hustle.
Period.
How you gonna hate from outside, Shabbat? You can't even get in.
See, the whole, this gets into Truman Capote and the Capote Swans and the role that Truman Capote played in empowering and enabling and encouraging and then exposing the narcissism and the psychopathologies of the Capote Swans as they ruled the roost of the United States from the Big Apple.
You guys did that for free? You did that for free?
Yeah.
Okay. Frankly, I personally don't think it matters if she's paid or not. There are clear examples of her coordinating with the Israeli government to carry out their propaganda here in America. That's the issue.
Yeah.
And it's especially a problem when she's so close to the White House. I wonder how that happened. So here she is, pictured with the president and UFC owner Dana White in April. Oh, we ain't done yet. She was also pictured at Trump's inauguration. Seems to go to a lot of Trump events. Here she is with U.S. Ambassador to Israel, Mike Huckabee, because of course she is. And remember when former Attorney General Pam Bondi pulled that stunt where she got a bunch of conservative influencers together to supposedly hand them the Epstein files, making good on the Trump administration's promise for transparency. But then it turned out that all the documents in the binders were heavily redacted and were already in the public record. Yeah, Emily Austin was part of that humiliating mess.
I saw y'all on the internet coming for Cattell saying he's day 5 and we haven't gotten the Epstein files. Well, I'm here outside the West Wing and look at what we got today. The Epstein files, baby. Let's make America safe again.
Oh, God.
Wow. Well, how was she chosen along with Laura Loomer to be one of the people attempting to dupe Trump voters who were promised the Epstein files? Who knows? What we do know, though, is that Emily Austin is represented by one of Epstein's closest friends, Casey Wasserman. So here's Emily's speaker page for Wasserman speakers. Now, here, let me zoom in for you guys so you can get a better look at what I'm talking about. Wasserman speakers right there at the top. And then Emily Austin is one of the people represented by this agency. And if there's any question about Wasserman's ties to Epstein, here's Wasserman pictured with Ghislaine Maxwell and Jeffrey Epstein. It says LA 28 chairperson Casey Wasserman because he's the chairperson for the Olympics in 2028. Now, Emily deleted any reference to her Wasserman representation from her ex-bio following Bindergate, especially as people kept pointing to the fact that Wasserman was close to Epstein. So he's also, by the way, a huge donor to Israel. Here's an example of what I'm talking about here. So there you go. Wasserman's CEO, Casey Wasserman, donated $525,000 to Friends of the IDF, $25,000 to Israeli right-wing organization Stand With Us, $1 million to AIPAC campaigns. So when you really consider the tangled web Israel weaves in the United States, and you get a sense that a small group of people are well coordinated, working together to ensure that our government is working for them and not for us, it does really feel super ironic that you have Vine and Fig Tree pointing to undue foreign influence carried out by other countries and how they're supposedly in the heads of all these conservative content creators and influencers who have critical things to say about Israel. If we're going to have a conversation about foreign influence, you can't tell me that an organization that's working on behalf of Israel's interests should be the ones rooting out foreign influence here in the United States. Anyone who dares to speak out against Israel's undue influence over our government must be destroyed, according to Fig and Vine Tree, Vine, Fig Tree, whatever. But that's exactly what Vine and Fig Tree is up to in an effort to destroy Joe Kent, Candace Owens, Tucker Carlson, Mario Nawfal, and others. I don't care what you think about these people politically. You should be against these types of campaigns against American citizens who are simply practicing their political speech, political expression in criticizing a foreign country. Because if they're coming for them, what, you think they're not going to come for you if you're on the left? And the left is far more critical of Israel than most people on the right are. This is not okay. These types of campaigns are not okay. And it's sick to see this coordination happening between Shapira and Austin, when in reality, Austin, we have a mountain of evidence tying Austin to coordinating with the Israeli government in order to propagandize the American people. You got a problem with foreign influence. How about you take a look at your own house? But they're not going to do that, of course. So there you have it. That's the story. Highly recommend you guys follow Gen X Girl Files on Substack. That's the in-depth reporting I was referencing in the piece. So check that out. And then check out Kuchia's thread on X, where she gets into the specific documents. She provides the receipts, provides the documents, and you can take a better look at what these organizations are really up to behind the scenes and how they're trying to work alongside the Trump administration in targeting individuals, conservative individuals who are critical of Israel. It's insane.
Every time you ring the bell below, an angel gets his wings. Totally not true, but it does keep you updated.
Okay. So, yeah, that's, gotta go and get something to eat. My blood pressure is going down. So that's it for right now. It's all psyop. It's all propaganda. It's all a Truman Show. It's all fake and gay, calling it nowadays. Whatever you want to call it. Bullshit. That's what I call it. So that's it for right now. Ciao. See you later.